I'm not trying to.
rights?
I'm not trying.
Fuck
No, no,
that
no,
shit.
no. I'm not trying to criticize the dead. Not Marley, at least, and not right now.
No.
Like I don't want to criticize him. Or,
No,
or imply that I might be criticizing the way that he handled his disease.
I was hoping that he would. I thought he was fighting. I thought he was winning his fight. I thought he was taking Fico. We're live now.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna do today's show about Marley. We're all messed up about Marley. Marley Sheen passed away yesterday. I know you all probably heard. And we're gonna dedicate this show to Marley. I'm gonna do a K-bar dab in Marley's honor. Where's my K-bar?
Here. I'll get a letter from the side.
I had a K-bar and it's gone.
Not here. Oh. Okay, cool.
I got a K-bar. I'm gonna do a K-bar dab. A hot one too.
What big one, like?
So we're here with Adam and Michelle. Hey guys.
I'll use this. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Have to go inside.
I'm sorry, I'm still getting up and running here. Got a late start. But we're in the bamboo garden here. I'm just checking our feed here. It looks like we're good.
You're live.
Wow, we're live on Facebook for a change. How about that?
Both. YouTube and Facebook.
Looks good, sounds good. I think we're up. I think we're good. Wow, how about that? Wish we had this
Last week.
wish we had this last week at the State House.
It was raining last
with
week at the
Howie
State House.
Howie Hawkins. Oh man. We talked for like an hour yesterday about Marley, about a bunch of stuff.
Yes, we did.
If you want to grab that mic, if that's too much, because we kind of need everyone to get up on the mics. So if that's too far away, you can move your chair closer. But there's a lot to talk about. But right now we're talking about Marley. And if you have anything to say or want to mention Marley in any way, call in, put on the chat. I'm still in shock. I can't believe he's gone. I'm just.
So fast.
It just.
So fast.
I missed his party because I was in an accident. I don't miss many Marley's parties. I missed maybe two. That was the second one I missed, and I just didn't know how sick he was, and I thought there was more time. I thought, oh, I'll see Marley next week. There's always time. He lives a couple of towns away. I'll see him next week. I'll see him soon. Nope. Nope. Don't have the kind of regrets that I have, folks. If you want to see somebody, go see them. Charles Brooks. Sucio Gonzalez. What's your favorite Marley name? Is it Marley Sheen, Sucio Gonzalez, or Charles Brooks?
It's Marley.
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 That's Marley the best.
Marley.
I like Dirty Gonzalez. I'm
That's
I'm
cool
down.
too.
Dirty Gonzalez. Here. You got it. Sorry. So we're waiting for some more friends to come, and we're gonna have a little party back here. Are we sharing, or are we not sharing? Oh, you got your own rig, so I got
We all got our own rigs.
You got your own rig. You got your own joints. We have alcohol wipes.
Yes, we do. We're right here.
Whatever you want.
Go wait for me.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. Welcome to Marley's Memorial Show. What?
You don't like that air. I can't think of nothing to say. Right
This is not dead air.
now. Oh, okay.
It's not dead air.
My headphones aren't working.
Oh, your headphones on, and you'll see there's no.
Not working.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Neither are. Neither of them are. Okay. I hear it now. My favorite song.
Promises all the time. Don't cross the line, but you know it's mine. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
All right, K-Bar Dad, can you heat up a rig for me, please? I want to do a dab. K-Bar. K-Bar dabs. That's a Marley Sheen dab right there.
Yeah, it is.
I've seen Marley Sheen do dabs like this, so here we go. I'm all in.
Ooh, that's a hot dab.
Hot dab. Woo! Who you want a hot dab with? There's dabs here. Whoever wants them, help yourself. Secret sesh in the backyard of Bayonne. You told me Marley was here a few days ago. He brought you some weed?
Weeks ago.
He brought you some weed? Oh, man. I wasn't here.
No. I'm never here, Lefty.
Damn it.
Yeah, I saw Marley a couple weeks ago.
Yeah?
Yep. You know, I didn't know that he was so close to passing on.
Nobody knew. I did. But Chris said that they did mention hospice at one point a week or two ago.
Oh,
If I would have known that, I would have been there in a second. I
Yeah, I wish somebody would have told us that, because then...
I thought he was fighting it. I thought he was beating it. I
Yeah,
thought
me
he
too.
was winning.
like I told you yesterday, he even kind of chastised me for suggesting maybe he needed me to stick around to help him. He was just like, man, I got this. Like, you know how old I am, man? That's what he said. And I was like, okay, man. You know, so like...
Do you know how old I am?
He didn't say, you know, yeah, man, I really appreciate that if you could help me. He didn't say that. So, yeah, he looked like he was fighting cancer.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I had, you know, have a little regret, you know, like
Yeah.
I didn't stick around to hang out as long as, you know.
Yeah.
And then there was the barbecue, which got rescheduled, and then that screwed up so I didn't show up for that thing.
I
You
thought
know,
it was
like
canceled.
I-
but it was
I-
canceled then uncanceled. So,
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
but that threw me off because of the way that I scheduled my shit.
Yeah. I regret not. I don't miss Marley's parties, and I didn't know that was his farewell party.
He didn't bill it as such.
No, I don't think he ever would have. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you guys are gonna make me cry today because it didn't hit me yesterday.
No.
It just I was in shock yesterday. I didn't believe it. I was kind of numb yesterday. I was just like, nah, Marley, nah. Wow. Wow.
it was so fast. It was like... I mean, Jeff is still here, and I mean, he's still doing good. I thought that he had at least...
I see how Jeff is fighting, and
Yeah, exactly.
he's been through the ringer. He's been at death's door. I didn't realize Marley was at death's door all this time.
I guess
I
he
thought
don't
he
let
was.
us see that.
I mean, I talked to him on the phone when he had his voice issue. I talked to him for like an hour. He sounded like he was good. He was fighting. He wasn't like. He wasn't giving up. That's for damn sure.
No.
He was happy. He's his normal self.
I mean, it's a testament to his personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was working like right up until the end, I guess.
Yeah,
like
he was.
When I
He
went
was.
right? So when I went to go see him, you know, he was just doing what he would do normally. You know, not like, pass me that box, but that's, he was just doing what he was doing normally. And it didn't seem like he was.
Sick.
It seemed like he was sick, but he didn't seem like he was resigned to do anything different.
Right.
He was just carrying on.
Right. He was fighting it, and he was just going forward, hustling with his hustle. He had a hell of a hustle too.
Yeah, he was a very visible personality with a lot of balls and a lot of respect. Yes, you can hear me compliment him post-mortem.
It deepens your voice, and you get that real deep, sexy voice there.
Like
I
I
don't
was
want
on
the deep
radio.
voice. I don't want that sexy voice.
I'm so happy you decided to come over today. I really am. I was just expecting a phone call, but this is much better because we can dab and we can chill and talk about our friend Marley the right way. Because Jason and Jim will be here later, and they knew Marley very well, and they're going to talk about him. And oh man, wasn't ready for this today, to talk about this today. Adding him to the list is going to be,
Weird.
I mean, 1 out of 10 patients die. That's the truth. 1 out of 10 of us are going to die. And
1 out of 10 cannabis patients?
yeah, 1 out of 10 cannabis patients
We're
die
all
every year.
sick.
Mm-hmm. 10%. So this year it'll be 8,000 people die. 8,000 cannabis patients die.
That's awful.
Yeah. Out of the 80,000.
And don't worry, there'll be more people coming in.
Yeah, more new ones will come in, and it just makes you think more about why you're here on this planet. And Marley was a God-fearing man. He believed in God, and I'm sure he's in heaven with his mom right now.
You're right. His mom welcomed him there.
Mm-hmm. He's in a gated community with his mom.
You're right.
That's a pun.
Bishop James told me that. Bishop Jethro James told me that. I love that.
Oh, okay.
He says, he said, my sister is in a gated community and has 12 doors. I was like, yeah, right on. Good stuff.
That's really clever. and endearing.
I love it. It was helpful to me because I was in such despair when Lorraine died and looking for answers. And I talked to Bishop James about this. And because my wife's going through hell with losing her brother, then losing her sister within a year. And hurtful. So I'm looking for answers myself. I'm always looking for answers to these questions and the reason why we're here and our destinies that we have to fulfill. I think this is boot camp for the soul, why we're here. Our souls are in boot camp. We're here to learn something or do something, and then we're going to move on. When we're ready.
That's why I'm still here.
Yeah, you're here for, I said God's not done with you.
Okay.
God's got plans for you.
Got
had
plans for me. Good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to him, God. Come on, bring him on.
Here's something for you. Let your pain be your purpose. How's that? I love short little bumper stickers like that. I love those.
I put them on my canes or my wheelchair.
A cane sticker. There you go. Wheelchair sticker.
Oh my God.
Disabled jokes all day long.
Not nice.
Hey, we're all messed
Yeah, I
up. We're all
know, I know,
disabled.
I
We
know.
got to laugh at ourselves sometimes.
I do all the time.
What am I gonna do? We're all suffering in one way or another. Actually, pretty much all my friends are suffering.
But we're here still, except for Marley.
We're here, except for Marley.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
So, if you're listening, please tell me your favorite memory of Marley, your happy memory of the secret sesh, of what was your favorite venue. I kind of liked his backyards,
Come on, all the Thanksgivings he had.
but the Thanksgivings.
That was great. That was it's never gonna be replaced. Hoping somebody could step up and replace that, but
We're gonna have to have a memorial for him,
yes.
and we'll all have to plan something, a free party. or a fundraiser for the family, or both.
Yes.
You know, you want to donate to the family, we'll do something like that. And but a free party, just donate your time and energy. This is something I would donate my time and energy for free. This is one of those
Definitely,
things. Like I wouldn't want. I would spend money to help this. He was my friend, and he was always really. He was a really good friend of mine. That's all I'm gonna say. I've known him for years. Peace, love, and be kind, all. Thank you. Hi, William. William says, hello, everyone. I will miss Marley Sheen. No one did Thanksgiving the way he did. His event was second to none. You're right.
I mean, he performed a important community service.
Yes.
You know, all of the. I don't know if I'm oversimplifying it, but all the patients that fall through the cracks. You know what I mean? Like, he caught a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So, I think that's what stands out the most for me about what he was doing. Even though he was cool as hell, like that's a whole other story. But what he was doing for the community was he was providing a space and an opportunity for people who needed that extra care or looking over, you know? These people fall through the cracks, like literally. Like I used to be one of these people that fell through the cracks. I live in New York, so it's different, but you know, he cared about the people that in his neighborhood and in his community. And he held these events, and before anyone else was doing this type of thing, I didn't see anyone doing the things he was doing until years later, you know?
Well, the things we were talking about yesterday did concern Marley, because we had a conversation about a lot of different things. But one of the things that I was doing in the last month or so is I've been blocking people. I don't have the time or energy for people that are like, I go to Black Lives Matter protests. I don't get paid for it, but I go to the protest because it's the right thing to do. I want to support people that are being oppressed by the government. And you got people that are saying, well, what about this? Or what about that? Or what about the black people killing each other in Chicago? And what about this? And what? Dude, why can't you just support people that are being oppressed by a racist, sexist, evil government? And I can prove it. I can prove our government's evil, sexist, racist. I mean, just look at the history. And when I grew up in Catholic school, I didn't learn about that shit. I didn't learn Thomas Jefferson was having sex with a 14-year-old slave. I didn't know that. That was not in my history books. Or Ben Franklin, or these are my heroes growing up. And all that shit was flipped on its head. How do you think I feel? I'm pissed. I'm pissed off at our forefathers, and everyone for lying to us all these years. All these years we were lied to. And they tried to cover it up, and now people are waking up, and people are getting awoke, and they're fighting against it. And it's like, you know, when you start saying all lives matter, you just show your ignorance, because we're not talking about that. We're talking about black people right now. People who have been oppressed for hundreds of years in this country in every possible way. Raped, killed, murdered, you name it. It's been done to them. Oppression, total oppression. And now the white people are going to tell black people, oh, the oppression's over. No, the white people don't tell the black people when the oppression's over. It's the other way around. So when I hear all you people talking about all the way you're diverting and dividing and trying to not talk about this issue by bringing up other issues, you need to check yourself, because you know what? Life is too short. You're in boot camp right now, and you're on the wrong side of God. There's fake Christians out there. There are fake Christians who put black people in bondage. Christians that went to church, when they got out of church, they went and whipped black people. This happened. So which are the correct Christians? Which ones? Are we all correct? Who's wrong? Were the slaves wrong or were the forefathers wrong? Well, I think the forefathers were wrong. Am I wrong? Am I wrong for asking these questions? I'm 52 years old. I've seen a lot of shit, and I've seen a lot of lies from our government, a lot of things from our government. It's corrupt. In the Bible, it talks about this. We are in a struggle against the governments, against the authorities, against the wicked spirit forces. Ephesians 6. Read Ephesians 6. It talks right about the government in there. That's what Jesus fought against. You know, we don't have a Republican Jesus. There was never a Republican Jesus. The Jesus we had was a guy who slept on couches. He was homeless. He slept on your couch, and you would feed him. He wasn't a rich guy. He wasn't some mogul, lobbyist. He was, come on, man. He was a revolutionary, anti-government. That's why the government killed him. But no, we have conservative Christians that are talking about Republican Jesus now.
He's white, right?
Oh, and the white Jesus, too.
He's got to be.
White Jesus. It's laughable.
The cross of St. Elizabeth had a really hot Jesus on the cross.
Well, he's got that
White.
swimmer's body.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, I learned a lot about the Catholic Church. I used to go to Catholic Church, and I don't anymore, but I still used to go to the Stations of the Cross. I love Stations of the Cross on Holy Thursday. That's my thing. But you know what? That's praying to an engraved image, a graven image. You're going in front of a statue, an engraved image, and you're praying in front of it. That's
what we
so
were taught in Catholic schools.
all these years, I'm thinking that's a good thing. No, it talks against that in Scripture. But yet here the Catholic Church is praying to St. Anthony, praying to statues. We're praying to statues. I grew up praying to statues. I was wrong. I feel I was wrong. Maybe it's good for somebody. Maybe you like praying to statues. Good. I hope that works for you. For me, I'm a truth seeker. I want to know the truth. And if it's a graven image, I'm not going to pray to it. I pray back here. I was born in this house, by the way, Adam. This is my energy center right here.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So I have a lot of memories in this backyard, and I would come back here and meditate and pray. And I feel like I'm in a wormhole sometimes, and it feels like you are kind of, because and I swear to God, if you start praying here, for me anyway, I get a lot of good energy here. It's a good center for me here. But I had you going yesterday about this issue. Am I wrong?
Which, the Black Lives?
Yeah. Am I wrong? Am I off base? Am I kind of right? I'm just confused anymore with the conservative friends that I have and the liberal friends that I have. I don't agree with either of them. I'm kind of in the middle because there's no left or right. There's only an up or down. So I'm kind of like, I want to do the right thing. I don't want to do the liberal or conservative thing. I want to do what's right. I want to do what helps people. I want to help people. I don't want to hurt people. You're putting up. I used to believe in walls. I don't anymore. I don't. You're putting up walls between people, between God's people. And you're saying you're better than you. You can't come over here because you're not good enough to come over here. Or the money issue. It's all about money and capitalism, and let's just be compassionate. Let's just help people. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Off my soapbox.
Sure, soapbox.
That's why we don't disturb you when you're on it.
I mean, I think that one of the major problems in our society and culture and economy is that our government and private corporations are basically working together. That's a problem. That's been a problem from however long it's been an issue. Whenever it started, that's as soon as it became a problem. So that's fundamental, because then that takes all of the humanity and heart out of governmental institutions, which, you know, are being pressured by money interests from internally and externally, like lobbyists. So that just skews the whole thing and tilts the whole table, playing field, game, monopoly board, whatever you want to call it. So we're already living in like a, you know, through the looking glass backwards world, where where doing the right thing doesn't result in the right outcome.
No.
And doing
You're fought against it.
exactly because the pressures of selfishness are just everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
So that's one thing. And then I think at the bottom of the Black Lives Matter debate is whether or not we actually treat other people as equals, right? We can say whatever we want. We can say we believe in this, we believe in that, whatever. Your behavior and your actions, that actually displays what you believe, especially if it's contradictory to what you said. That seems like a basic psychological truth. So when people in the black community say, we're being oppressed in this way, we've been oppressed in this way, this is our day-to-day reality. Not every single one of us, obviously, right? But most of us, this is the reality day-to-day. When they say these things, it's like, how can your response be anything other than, I believe you. That's terrible. Let's work to change it. If you start with that, you can't respond like, well, more white people are actually killed than black people, or one of the dozens of deflections and red herrings that take focus off of the issue, which is that you're not willing to give these people and what they're saying validation, and you're not willing to believe it on its face. The same way that if you were going to complain about something terrible that's happening to you, like if you were oppressed every day by something, and you'd say, look, I'm being oppressed, and the people you're complaining to start nitpicking treating what you're saying as if it's an argument or a thesis.
Look at that oppression over there.
Right.
Look at those guys. They're oppressed more.
Right. The same way with the Black Lives Matter slogan. I mean, could it be better? Like, does it mean Black Lives Matter too? Could it have been a better slogan? I don't know. But for the people who make that a point and say, make that the center of their argument to begin to be critical of what the people are saying, you're missing the point. How are you nitpicking a slogan? It's not a thesis. It's not a doctoral thesis. It's just something on a sign to unite people around, Black Lives Matter isn't lockstep, monolith. Everyone believes that, we should kill whitey. There are, of course, some people who believe that. I support Black Lives Matter. I'm not trying to burn property or kill whitey.
You're nonviolent like me. I do nonviolent protest.
Well, I mean, I support, I definitely support oppressed people doing what they feel they need to do to get our attention.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's totally valid.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We can have a different discussion about that some other
It's
time.
not my thing, but I support whatever works to get awareness and to fix the issues, because that's what it takes sometimes, unfortunately.
I mean, maybe it's an oversimplification, but if my position is we're being killed, and your position is stop breaking windows telling us about it, that doesn't really weigh out. Plus, those windows are probably insured. So I think it comes down to empathy. I think every person can have empathy. I don't think people are psychopaths or sociopaths just because they have a different view than me on Black Lives Matter. I think that they may not be, if they turned on that empathy switch and tried to have empathy first and then reason second, they might have a different outcome.
They're not listening.
Well,
That's what it is. They're waiting to
don't wanna
respond.
listen.
I don't want to call these people unempathetic because I don't,
Some are.
some are, but I'm not trying to paint everyone who disagrees with me as unempathetic, because that's not fair. That's not what I mean. But I mean, when they're killing us, here's what I think is wrong with your argument. How can that be your response when someone says they're killing us? Stop shooting us. Well, here's what I think is wrong with that argument. That's not fair at all. That's not fair. That's not fair. I think that's like the definition of prejudice. How can you, instead of being empathetic, start judging in response to that person saying they're killing us or something along those lines. That's my opinion about this. And I'm not, you know, I didn't get my master's in philosophy, so like, you know, don't quote me. But it hurts to watch people that I know live in my town, for instance, say awful things on the internet. The internet is terrible these days. It's so much hate that people are just venting at each other. I mean, it's really, of course, love is the answer, love and tolerance and empathy.
Yeah.
But that's a tall order to tell people, love people more, be empathetic more. I mean, I think that it's not impossible. I think that, you know, find that place in your body where, you know, love is and cultivate that, you know, meditation, prayer, whatever it is, whatever gets you there, you know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. The answer is love and gratitude and empathy, but I don't know how we make that.
It is.
I don't know how we make that the culture. I don't know how
How
we
do we
do that.
get there?
How do we get there? Would only half the Christians believe that? You got all these conservative Christians that are just anti-Black Lives Matter, anti-immigration, just I don't get it. You can't do that. You can't be both.
I mean, I think cognitive dissonance and hypocrisy is pretty fundamental to being human, because I don't think that we are very good at knowing ourselves. We're really good at knowing other people,
Yeah.
but not as good at knowing ourselves.
This is
and,
true.
Here's where I would advocate a meditation practice, right? Some kind of Eastern, Buddhist, whatever meditation practice. I mean, they're not the only one. There's the same types of traditions in the Jewish and Christian wisdom traditions.
I'm studying a Kabbalah right now.
It's one of them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I mean, some of the davening where they're, you know, where they're making repeated physical motions of bending over, you know, you could say that helps induce a trance. But that's not something superficial. That's not superficial. That's part of the process of getting in touch with more subtle or deeper parts of yourself, like higher emotional function, like love and empathy. You know, it's not just something that happens when you see your wife when you get home. It's something that should happen when you're walking down the street, when you see a stranger. You know, when you pick up a candy bar in the supermarket. You know, like you should be having love, gratitude, awe.
I know people like
empathy
that
all the time.
I know
or,
people
or
like
at least be aspiring to do that and doing something about it. Imagine what a different world we'd have,
Man.
if people were trying to feel love and gratitude at every moment. Have much less negativity.
Yeah.
Much less negativity.
And less fear, because if God doesn't want you to live in fear. It talks about this throughout the Bible. And if you're living in fear, you're not really. You need to check yourself, because God doesn't want you to live in fear. If you believe in God and you have God's plan is working for you, there is no fear. You're doing exactly what God wants you to do at that moment, providing it's supposed to be a good thing, providing you're doing well thought out good things in life. Yeah.
I think yesterday we were also talking about hemp and growing hemp and how that plays back into some of the stuff that we're talking about now. Like, how do we... So taking Black Lives Matter at face value, not the straw men, you know, the fake arguments about what they really mean, like that they're Marxists or that they want to, you know, redistribute all your wealth.
That George Soros is paying them. Duh. Yeah, right.
Or,
Okay.
or that, you know, they want to come into the suburbs and, you know, do bad things, whatever. If we take their central complaints at face value, you know, that the violence against them is awful and it's systemic and it's been going on for a long time, then how do we confront that problem? You know, how do we change that? Because if we start, I mean, I'm a fan of logic, but I think also emotions and empathy are really important, and one without the other is no good. So assuming we have empathy for these people, the people who are making this class of people, this cohort that are that are oppressed on a daily basis by the way that our culture and society has just come together. Then we should want to do something about it. If that's what's really going on, then that's awful. We need to change that. This is America, like not all the myths about America that we were raised with are bullshit. The ideal of freedom and protecting the rights of others and mutual respect and mutual responsibility. Those are core principles of, well, I thought they were, of, the good parts of the American ideal that I was taught, So if we want to change these things, we want to, that's a can of worms. We want police to be better for the public. We want that to be better. If we want funding for education to be better, if we want, disparities in wealth not to be redistributed in some kind of, forceful Marxist way, but in a systemic, organic way, some logistical way.
Well, the drug war. Let's defund the drug war.
That's true.
That's what defund the police. Well, defund the drug war. That's a lot of their money right there.
Well, it's also they would have much less contact with the public in a context where they might have to use force
Right.
if they're not stopping people because they smell a burning plant.
Right.
I think that would be a huge, huge victory.
Well, these are trained killers. First of all, that's their first job is to gather information and to kill. That's what they're trained to do. Gather information or
The
kill.
police?
Police are trained killers. They're trained to kill. You don't want trained killers going around doing the nanny state stuff and stopping you from, smoking crack. You want to smoke crack? Go smoke some crack. I don't care. I'm serious.
It's their job, though, to stop you. That's their
And we need
job.
to stop that as being their
Well,
job
yeah.
because these are killers. If you need a cop, you need someone killed, you call a cop. If someone's shooting up a bank, yeah, you call the cops and they shoot the guy. Don't call a cop on me. I don't need killers coming up to me threatening me. Don't call cops on me for weed. But they do.
Yeah, I've had that happen. It's no fun.
Really?
Well, I mean,
Guns and everything?
I've been.
I was beat up, but
I wasn't beat up. No, that's worse. That's worse.
so you had guns pulled on you or no?
I was kidnapped.
But you were
Kidnapped and put in the basement of the police department.
In a cage.
And they told me that they were going to look for evidence that I was a drug dealer, so that they could, they hadn't even been in the car yet, because it smelled like some weed, and we're all like, we don't talk to police, and they're like, well, we're impounding the car, we're running all your names, and it's just like, and I had some warrant from 10 years ago, from 10 years prior, for an unpaid ticket that dozens of police who have given me tickets for this or that in the meantime had seen and didn't care about. This guy arrested me for it, so I could have bail, right? And then impounded the car so that they could search the car for evidence of the marijuanas.
What town was this?
Cliffside Park.
Oh.
And then when I was in the basement of the police department, when they're like, well, there's the bail is going to be this, so we're going to book you into, the Orange County. What county was it? What county is that? Bergen County Jail. And while they're sitting there counting the money in my pocket, saying, and we're going to move to seize this money in your pocket because, if you're, if there's any evidence that you're selling drugs, it's just like, why are you saying this? You haven't even been in my car. All we did was allegedly smell like cannabis, and now you're literally talking to me about how you're plotting to steal my money. Like, I've had a police officer in Rockland County Sheriff's deputy, pull me over for speeding, I guess, even though he was the one driving erratic and I was trying to get away from him. And then, of course, I smell the marijuanas, and ended up filing a false report against me, saying that there was a sale committed. How could there be a sale committed? It's me and you on the side of the highway with a joint and some edibles, allegedly. Where's the sale? But by writing a ticket for sale, the judge isn't there when tickets are written, so then he can petition to, again, seize the money in my pocket. Look, like $1,000. I was on my way back from Maine with money for the week, I had the receipt for the ATM in my pocket.
Really?
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
And
Did you film it?
No, I didn't.
That's
film
step one.
Yeah, I know.
Step one, when they come within 25 feet of you, turn your live Facebook on.
it. Next time.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Yeah, let's knock on some wood.
Yeah,
will you?
where's the wood?
Bamboo right behind you.
And I ended up not suing the, because it says, so when you fill out, I still have the accusatory instrument, the piece of paper, where it says that a sale was committed. And, the officer has to sign it, and it says under, penalty of perjury, a Class A misdemeanor.
Right.
Well, technically, where's the evidence of sale? So I could have pursued that. I ended up taking the plea bargain in order for them to give me my cash back. They almost, they never give you your money back. But I was like, I'm going to do the religious defense. And then they're like, okay, we'll give you your cash back. And that's how that one ended. But
What is this? I just got a message here.
I heard last night, and
Oh.
I want to tell you face to face, in case it's true, that Marley passed. And I'm not ready to believe it yet, so I have a hard time accepting it, but that is what I heard, is Marley passed yesterday. If I hear anything, I'll let you know. I'm trying to find out more about the services authority.
Well, that's Kevin. And actually, there is a service on Friday, I believe. There is an obituary out there, and the service is Friday.
Friday tomorrow?
No, August 8th, I believe. Next week. So, yeah. And we're going to have to do some kind of event for him. Something big, something cool.
Should be a barbecue.
Yeah, we should have barbecue. Barbecue.
So, all you out there in TV land, where are we going to have this barbecue?
Yeah, where would you like to have a barbecue memorial for Marley? Where can we go? I mean, we could do the State House. It's a free one. That's free, but yeah.
A park. A park where people can barbecue and have.
Well, we can't smoke in the park. That's the only thing. So we need a place for patients to not be inconvenienced by having to leave and come back to smoke.
That only works on private property, right?
Private property, which would cost us money.
How much money?
Well, I don't know. That's true. We don't know how much money. Maybe somebody who knows Marley can donate some of their space for us. He knew a lot of people. So I'm sure somebody would donate some space. So if you guys know of anybody that would want to donate some space for a party, indoor, outdoor, I think would be good. Because we could put a tent outside. And if it gets too hot, we can go inside, go outside. If it's smoky, have the option. Barbecue. Definitely want a barbecue.
Does it have to be in New Jersey?
Not necessarily.
I have a big backyard.
Oh, you do? Where? In what town?
In the town of Ramapo.
Ramapo, New Jersey.
In New York.
Oh, Ramapo, New York.
Just over the border into New York.
Really?
It took me 42 minutes to get here.
It's not too bad.
So,
Okay.
no promises, but we'll talk about the logistics.
Wow, there we go. We might have an
talk
option
about it.
right there.
Because I don't know what we do about parking. We have to figure something out.
Hello from the Texas Panhandle. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Dante. Tracy. Hey, guys. Yeah, it's a sad day. It's a sad day. We're going to plan a celebration, but I don't feel like celebrating today. I'm still in shock yesterday. I'm still in shock today. I have to find some pictures online to put up for the list because I want to find a nice picture of him. I can't believe he's adding Marley to the list. Where's that music coming from? Is that me? Oh, okay. Got it. We're in the backyard in Bayonne. It's a really cool place back here. Would you like a K-bar dab?
Sure.
All right. Let me hook you up.
I would. I haven't done a dab in a few days.
Where's my big knife?
Make it big enough for me for it to be a memorial dab, but not too big that it's gonna hurt me.
What would Marley like?
Marley would.
He'd want you to hurt.
He'd hurt me and then laugh.
Hurt you and laugh.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
then
what we're gonna
pat
do.
me on the back, basically.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hurt you and laugh.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, you still want me to be able to converse. Sorry, we got the mate. We'll be good. That is a bigger dab than I ever do, just so you know. It's bigger than I do.
Is that acceptable?
I accept.
It's a big one. All right, there you go. Just grab a rig, heat it up. There's a torch over here. Where's the torch?
Down there, I see it.
Okay,
I got it.
that's all you. Just heat up whatever rig you want there. We have 3 silicone rigs. Why do we have all silicone rigs? So when you drop them, we don't break them. Because we've broken rigs before, and it's very hurtful.
Are these all dry?
No, they all should have water in them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they should be all set. Just heat that sucker up for about 30 seconds, and then you'll be good. Oh, there's a torch right there.
I've been doing these things called cold starts.
Yes. Would you want to do a cold start?
I feel like I cannot do a cold start
Yeah, with a K-bar.
and do a K-bar dab because it leaves the dabber before the dab happens, you know. So I don't want to be disrespectful.
Let me close up on you here.
I didn't heat that. 30 seconds, huh? 30 seconds. Is this map gas? This is ready. You guys are nuts. This is ready. You guys are nuts. Nuts.
K-bar dab
Oh, come
from
on,
Vietnam.
No way. I gotta wait. Are you kidding me?
That thing is from Vietnam, man.
This thing is awesome. It's like what Rambo would dab with.
Rambo.
Rambo would dab with this.
Dabo. Oh, that's great. That is just great. Look at that. Look at that. Yes.
No. Well.
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. The knife makes a good carb.
Oh my God.
It makes a nice carb. Yes.
Oh God.
There we go. I love it.
There you go.
K-bar dab. Oh, that was a good one. Beautiful. It's still going. You put a lot in there.
You put a lot in there. It was you who put a lot in there.
You actually put it in. I just put it on the knife for you.
Semantics. Oh man.
Oh, wow, this is fucking loaded.
I'll bet it is. Oh. I will smoke joints end to end nonstop, but I'm out of practice for dabs.
Wow.
Well, yeah, in memoriam, doing big dabs for Marley.
Dabs for Marley. Charles Brooks.
Yeah, I saw some people do their first dabs at his events.
Yeah. I think I've dabbed people out for the first time at some of his stuff. The best parties, man. The best.
I mean, you know, you get like 150, 200 milligram plate of food. So, You know, I remember. I'm terrible with the passage of time. I want to say like 3 Thanksgivings ago, but it might be like 5 Thanksgivings ago. I don't know. Where everyone was just passed out in the cars outside of the event because they didn't time. I mean, you know, to their credit, they showed up at the event, but they didn't. You know, they got sleepy. You know, so I recommend mate.
Nice.
Pretty good.
What is that?
Yerba mate is a tropical rainforest holly that tribes in the Amazon make a caffeinated tea out of.
Oh, okay.
And you may have seen some indigenous people or some well-meaning hippie types. I've seen some.
Well-meaning hippies.
Well, I mean, I've
My favorite.
Seen some, dated some, love them.
What's up,
hey,
man?
how are you, man? What was I talking about?
Well-meaning hippies.
The well-meaning hippie types. They might have the gourd. You know, it's like a little dried. You know, a gourd would be from like a squash of some kind, right?
Yeah,
Gourd.
they're kind of ugly.
Yeah, it's like tan and ugly and shaped like a squash. And then they have those straws, like a metal straw with a spoon and a little filter on it, or not a filter, but like a screen, so that you can you brew the tea, and then you just drink it through the straw, and you don't drink the leaves. So that's like an indigenous practice. When I went to school at Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado, a very crunchy hippie school. I saw some indigenous, you know, Amazon people, Peruvians or I'm not sure, the shaman and his wife or whatever, and they were selling blankets and teaching a class. And they had the actual, you know, they showed us how to do it. It's really bitter though, you know. Like I grew up in, you know, New York in the 80s, so like I'm used to sugar.
Yeah.
So this is a really good product because it's the mate with a little bit of sugar. So it's, you know, keeps me up.
Yeah. Well, sugar's better than corn syrup, I guess, right?
Yeah.
A little bit, not by much though.
No, I mean, if I had better discipline, I would just drink black coffee, but it hurts my stomach.
Really? That's all I drink is black coffee. Well, a little sugar.
Nah,
A little sugar. Yeah. That's not black then, I guess.
Nah,
That's not.
well, I mean, I guess it's black if we're talking about the lightener, you know. But I feel like that's something to aspire to, drinking black coffee, like just coffee with nothing in it, nothing added, like my grandparents did.
Right, like our forefathers.
Yeah, right. Although it's probably just because they grew up in the Depression and that's what they were used to.
Right.
But
Milk is disgusting. Kinda.
all right, so there's something to be said.
No, it's not.
There's something to be said
It
about going
is.
to an Italian restaurant, and then after your awesome Italian meal, they bring out the whatever coffee it is. If it's a good Italian restaurant, the coffee's really good.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And if they got a little heavy cream, my God,
Yeah. Okay.
that's a treat. So
Indulge yourself,
I don't do that anymore, but damn, does that taste good.
but just the milk with all the hormones and all the pus and all the,
well, yeah, sure, awful stuff.
you know, and they force these cows to.
I like milk in my coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Poor little cow suffering for you.
If I had better discipline, I'd be a vegan.
And
but
we eat them.
too.
We eat them, don't we?
you know
We're
what?
Just not milking them. We eat them.
I'm back on my diet as of August 1st. 20 days on, 10 days off.
That's so stupid. I'm
I
sorry.
eat meat for
It's so
20. I eat
stupid.
vegetables for 20 days, and I have 10 cheat days where I can eat meat for 10 days.
Wow, and that's stupid.
It's a good way to do it because I don't want to be total vegetarian because I can't. But I could do this. I could have cheat days, 10 cheat days a month, and that works for me. For me, it works. It may not work for you,
You're
but
a
it works for
human
me.
being. You're supposed to eat meat.
How do we know this? Everything I've learned in life has been wrong.
All
Maybe
right,
I'm
here.
wrong about
you
that
eat
too.
what you want as
Yeah.
long as you are healthy.
I'm happy eating what I'm eating, but factory farming was not the plan. We shouldn't have factory farms. When we're to the point of factory farms, we need to check ourselves.
I like milk, though. I'm not giving up milk because you can sit there and say poor cows.
Have you ever seen a factory farm?
No, I
with the
haven't. I don't want to see them. I'm sure
the
they're
pigs.
horrible. I'm sure they're horrible. But how else would I get milk?
Roach milk. I hear that's a thing now.
That's
Rat.
nothing.
Rat
Yeah,
milk.
rats. You know,
Rat milk.
a little rat teat.
We have a lot of them in Bayonne, so I'm sure I could get some.
Yeah, let's do that. We have an abundance of rats.
Wait a minute. Do they make insect milk? Is that an option?
I
That's
thought it
just-
was roach milk. Roach milk, I heard.
All right, you guys are fucking with me.
Google
You're
it. No,
lying
Google,
now.
Google it.
Wouldn't you eat bug paste? Wouldn't you eat that? Like
Yes.
like honey with the bees in it for protein?
Yeah, why not?
Yes.
I mean, bees are here for a reason. I mean, I'm sure they're here to help us.
I mean,
Saute.
if we ate insects and bugs and just, did what we needed to do to make them tasty, I don't mean like,
Would it
use-
taste like filet mignon?
maybe.
Maybe.
Doubt it, but sure, prove it to me.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
we'd be in a better...
Hey, challenge accepted. Did you hear that?
Prove it. I mean, show me.
I will cook for you a meal of bugs that will taste like filet mignon. Thank you.
Sounds good.
That does.
Can't
that does sound
wait.
good.
Thank you for volunteering.
Can I put A1 steak sauce on it, or am I insulting the chef?
You can put whatever you want on there to swallow it.
I would do it if
I
you
just
ate it.
want you to eat it.
Yeah, I would eat it. Why
I want you
not?
to eat bugs.
If you're willing to
I'll
cook them.
saute it. Yeah, I'll saute them nice with some butter,
Saute them
some
nice.
garlic.
I like butter and
garlic and butter.
Can't go wrong.
Start picking bugs out. Grab a couple.
There's no
if-
ants here. They're
start
too
co-
small.
If we turn to insects and bugs as
Oh.
a food source,
Oh.
we almost wouldn't have to turn to hemp to save the world.
Almost.
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 Ill?
Bamboo will save the world too, by the way.
Yeah, I
Just so
believe
you know.
that too.
This stuff is great.
I don't like canned bamboo though. I'm so.
Canned bamboo.
I mean, yeah,
Canned
yeah,
bamboo. What do you do with that?
it's the bamboo that you get when you order Chinese food. If it comes
Oh.
with bamboo in it, it's
Yeah.
just some canned bamboo strips.
It's the
Okay, I
fresh.
have had that.
The fresh shoots when they first come out of the ground. They're very soft and tender.
I don't like them, but that's just me.
I don't know if I would really.
Sorry,
eat them.
bamboo.
I eat them fresh.
Yeah, don't get the
I
bamboo
pop
on
them fresh. You just eat
Well,
them.
that's different. That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, you just eat them.
That is pretty cool.
There's not much taste, but I'm sure you could flavor them if you cook them.
Make them taste like steak.
Bamboo tastes like steak? No, I'm gonna have more fun making bugs taste like steak for you. Just watch
can't
for
wait.
watch for flame.
Yeah, no, I turned it off when I put that. It's on.
Yeah.
It's locked.
It's locked. I was gonna shoot up a rig. Thank you. I don't want to get on camera.
Okay, so how's everybody doing out there? I got Tracy's out there. Hi, Tracy. Hugh almond milk.
Almond milk.
Tracy McHugh says almond milk.
My daughter drinks that.
I like almond milk.
I don't like
What's
it.
what's
I'd rather
Naropa?
not.
Naropa.
Naropa.
Naropa is a Buddhist university in Boulder, Colorado, a small private school.
Oh. Okay.
I could write a book about that place.
Sharon Lynn Wright knows about that place. She says Naropa with a big heart. So I guess she's been there. She must have
Oh yeah, no, that place is that
taken a
place-
trip there.
That's a special place in the world. That place.
Okay, let's see if this works. Hello, you're on the air. Hello? I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello? I think Jeff Oakes just butt dialed me.
Hey Jeff, call back.
Jeff, you're butt dialing me. Are you? I hear you on there. I hear you through the pod. Hey, look, this is Jeff on here.
Come on, Jeff.
Jeff Lee.
Oh wow.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing?
Jeff Oakes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro. How are you? Are you in the
I
bathroom?
can hear you.
Are you in the bathroom?
Yes. Excuse me. I gotta clear my throat. No, I didn't butt dial you. Hold on. Let me try something else here.
Uh-oh. What's he doing?
How's that now? Is that better?
I can hear you. Sure. Can you hear me?
You're always a mess. Can you hear me now?
I'm here. I hear you loud and clear.
I don't hear any flushing.
Okay. So we got a good connection then.
Yeah, we do. How you doing, Jeff?
Cool. Good, good. I didn't want to not call in today. I mean, obviously, it's a hard day for some of you guys. I didn't know your friend Marley. But after reading some of the posts and listening to you speak of him and some of the qualities, his generosity and his willingness to sacrifice to help his friends.
Dude, he just threw a party basically on his deathbed. Like, I didn't know
Yeah,
how.
I mean,
Man.
I can certainly relate to the kind of person he was. Because I would, that's my goal, to be the same way. So, but I just wanted to make sure I called. I did not want to miss an opportunity. You're like one of the only guys. You're the only guys I know that carries a list of dead people around in his pocket. So there's something to be said about that.
You're a little muffled there, Jeff. You're a little muffled.
Yeah, I don't know why.
There you go. That's better.
Yeah, I guess I'm talking on my speakerphone, so I guess I got to keep it a little closer. But some of the stuff that you had mentioned, talking about some of the qualities that he had, obviously love was one of them, and the Black Lives Matter issue was discussed, and you guys spoke on some of the reasons on why we are the way we are, and I think the answer is just one word: it's fear.
Fear?
I don't think we're necessarily fearful of one another. We're fearful of what's going to happen to us the next day.
Well, the Trumper I talked to, I was talking to a Trumper, and he says he has all these guns, and he says, let them come in my house. Let them come in my house. And he was showing me he's going to sit there and he's going to shoot people. And he said, light them up. He said, light up all the protesters. Just shoot them. That'll show them. And this is a Christian person. This is a Christian.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. You guys talked about what it's like to be, manhandled and be treated unfairly by the police over cannabis arrest. I experienced the same thing. I can relate to it, and it's not very nice. And you're absolutely correct that we have trained killers among us, and we make the mistake of and some of the same people that you're talking about, they feel that the police are there to protect them, and you're absolutely right. It's not their case. It's not their problem to protect us. It's not their job. Their job is to investigate and make arrests, simply.
And kill.
That's it.
And kill. They're trained to kill.
If necessary, to kill. How we got that way as humans, I don't know, but I prescribe to what you say. I think there's choices to be made that lift people up rather than make us divided left or right. But that's the human pitfall that we all face. And that's all fueled by our daily fear that we face every day. Like right now, we're halfway through our day. You guys are, talking about an old friend passing away. You're sitting in a nice space, and you forget about your fears for a little while. But at night, they return. And that's what divides us in the end, is our fears of the unknown. Mr. Marley has no fears today. Marley is he's at peace. He's at peace with the universe. And that's our gift. It shouldn't be something to fear. And I can relate to that. I've been in a spot where I felt no fear anymore. And I can truly say that whatever happens, whatever religion you subscribe to, or if you don't subscribe to a religion, there is release. There is a sense of peace there. And I can say, whatever it was, I was not fearful of it. I was drawn to it. And I think if we think about who we are and what we are in this space, in this ridiculously huge universe, and we don't let ourselves be bigger than what we are, I think we can find a way to live in peace, because we all are truly dust. That's what we go back to. And that, to me, that's a whole other topic that we try to study scientifically and we never find the answer to. But it's out there, and I think in the end we all find it. I don't know if anybody that's listening can relate to the thoughts that I have. If for me it works, if you go back to the earliest, your earliest memory, and you guys talked about meditation. And if you use a little meditation, you can get yourself back and just keep going through your Rolodex of memories to get back to the earliest memory that you have. It may not even be a specific memory, but it may be even a feeling. A feeling of, and once you get to that moment, you can realize that you came from something. And you can't really describe it, but it's a feeling that there was something there before you were born. There was an identity. There was something. In my experience, and you shared with me how many times I laid in that freaking hospital bed. I had a lot of nights alone in the hospital when I was really sick. And like I said, my fear was lifted. And I think that's, why I wanted to call and say that death doesn't have to be a terrible thing to us here that are left. And it should be more of a celebration. And I think we all have something very surprising in store for us yet.
There was an entire eternity before we were born.
Yep.
The Tibetan Buddhists, or some Tibetan Buddhists,
For
said that
whatever you'd like to call it, salvation, eternal peace or rest or sleep, it's definitely a magnet.
Get right up
You're
on
close enough to it to feel it, have seen it or felt it. It takes us away from our suffering on this planet that we float around in space on. I just wanted to address that and
It's boot
pass
camp,
on
Jeff.
my condolences.
Thank you.
Condolences to your friend.
This is boot camp. Marley graduated boot camp. We're still in boot camp. We're still here. Oh,
Yeah, I can't hear you too well either.
oh, okay. Hold on. Adam wants to say something. Go ahead.
I was going to say that some Tibetan Buddhists say that meditation is practice for dying, which sounds morbid, but if there's this absence of fear that you're describing, then approaching that without fear would be a goal, would be a discipline,
Yeah.
and one worth pursuing. So that
I'm
sounds like
going to
what,
let you guys, because this connection is so bad, and I'll let you guys reflect on anything you might have to add. Okay?
All right, Jeff. Thank you, man. God bless you. I'm glad you're feeling a little better today.
Yeah, today's a little bit better, and the house is quiet. Everybody's out doing stuff today, so I'm just trying to rest up. So. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right, brother.
Good luck. I love you guys. Thanks.
Love you, man. Peace. Jeff, folks. I don't think he could have heard. I don't think he heard you very well.
that's all right.
Oh, I think I know what happened.
Oh,
Oh shit! I see what happened. My bad.
operator error.
Blame the sound guy. I you know what? When I cleaned it, I must have hit these buttons, and I knocked. Jeez.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh God.
Testing.
Testing 1 2.
I thought we don't do that. Testing 1 2.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
We never don't. No, we don't say that.
We don't say that. I don't know why, but we don't say that.
No, Jeff couldn't hear you.
my
What were you
bad.
saying?
I was
it was
just
good.
commenting. So, like, technically, I'm a Christian, right? Born Jewish, but I did a lot of Buddhist stuff, so I'm really familiar with that, and it's really close to me. So something that some Tibetan Buddhists say is that meditation is practice for dying, and that makes a lot of sense in terms of approaching death or the moment of death or whatever that is, with the kind of state of mind that you can cultivate with certain meditation practices, which, the Eastern cultures don't have a monopoly on that knowledge, but it's called something else in different traditions as you go west. Like Kabbalah, as you were saying, contains mystical, meditative things. There's esoteric Christianity.
Yeah.
There's you can to approach the ultimate through the emotions and all kinds of things. So it makes sense, so that we don't have that fear. So I was reminded of that when Jeff was speaking. People should learn meditation.
Jeff was dropping knowledge. Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
He always does.
Yes, he does.
I guess having experiences like he's had because of his illness,
He's probably closer to
he has
God
a lot of
than we are.
insight. He has
Yeah.
a lot of insight into what it's like to being close to that.
Mhm. He spends a lot of time thinking about that alone in a hospital room at 3 a.m.
Jesus. Well,
So I go there to watch the fights with him, try to get him kicked out. I try.
does it work like that?
Well, I usually try to smell like weed, and then they blame him. And they throw his shit out, and they take his weed, and they call the cops on him. Good times. We had some good times in the hospital, me and him. I tell you, those cops, they were cool. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to tell you what those cops did. I'm going to be honest. I hope I don't get them in trouble. You think I should say what they did?
Yes.
I should?
I don't know what it did, so tell me.
They did something really good.
Amazing. It's a cop.
I won't say it. No, I can't say it. No, I got to protect there. They did something really cool. When it came to the recording of the video.
All cops are not bad. I mean, it's just a matter
These-
of a handful of
yeah,
them that are.
These were so cool cops. I'm not going to put them on blast for doing something
no,
cool for
if
me.
it's something good. You don't do that.
They didn't have to do it, but they did it. The West Long Branch Police.
Good for them.
They saw the big picture. They had situational awareness. They saw a guy with cancer who was terminal, and the hospital was fucking with him. Now, either they knew somebody with cancer, they had experiences, and or they just saw this as a bad thing that was happening, and they made some decisions that were helping us,
Good for them. Good
helping
for
me
them.
and Jeff, not the hospital. They were actually helping the human beings and not the
I mean, the cops are
institution.
the laws. The hospital has to listen to them.
These were compassionate cops in West Long Branch. Hello, Carol Millman.
Hi,
Welcome.
Where am I sitting?
How are you, dear?
I'm okay. How's everybody
You can
doing?
sit wherever you want.
I'll sit on Michelle's
What is
lap.
up? We got stuff all over the place. That's all right. You can sit wherever you want. Just
Microphones are over here,
you,
Carol.
you want to be on a mic?
Yeah, I'm good.
Why don't you sit next to Michelle?
Right here.
Can I get there?
If you, yeah, I'll move over.
But if you guys start talking off mic, I'm gonna turn the
Let's
mics
look.
up on you and a camera.
Yay!
I
We're
wanna
in trouble, Carol.
Okay.
Yay,
Hold on.
Carol Millman.
Hi, everybody.
Carol, I've known you for many
Hi,
years,
Carol.
Yes, many years.
and we helped you in Lodi get your
Yes, you guys
bongs
did.
back. And well, you got your bongs back. We just filmed it.
Yeah, we all got my bongs back.
Oh, that was great.
That was excellent, yeah.
Lodi Police.
Hi, how are you?
You guys
Yeah,
know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, oh, this is Michelle's
My
brother.
brother, yes.
I saw this
Everybody, that's
handsome.
my
I didn't
brother,
look at you. I'm
guys.
sorry. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I looked at you. I said, oh, there's Michelle in mail form.
Hey.
No, so we're having like a little Marley's memorial sesh,
Yes,
and we're all kind of still in shock about it.
yes.
But we do want to be happy about it. I don't want to be sad about it. I want to be happy about it. I'm just still in shock about it. I'm happy that he's with God now. I know, Carol, you don't believe in God, so this is be a good conversation today.
Actually, I believe something's out there, and funny you should say that because everybody's going to be very scared about what I'm about to say right
Uh-oh,
now.
I know. We're all waiting.
I got
awesome.
gas the other day, right? And this guy was wearing an upside
Oh
down
my
cross.
God.
Wait, Michelle's mortified by this, but wait, this is a true story, right? And I was like, bro, what's up with the upside down cross? And he's like, well, actually, I worship Satan. He's like, I'm not a Satanist, and I don't necessarily do any evil with it. He's like, if you look up Satan's, I think it's either 10 or 13 rules that he goes by, they're very earthy rules. It's for the fallen people. I'm not a Satanist at all. I'll repeat that 10 times. I'm not. However, the rules that go by Satanism, I've been following since I've been a child. Most of them. And I agree with them. And again, I'll repeat, I am not a Satanist. As far as me not believing God,
Well, if you believe in
Here
Satan,
we
you believe in
go.
God,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
God created Satan.
I don't believe. I just
That's
said
true.
I
They're-
just
they're
said
a
I was
pair.
not a Satanist. I just said that his
No,
rules.
but if you believe Satan exists,
I don't believe.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe
You
in.
don't believe Satan exists? I believe he exists.
I believe there's good and there's evil in this world. Absolutely, good and evil energy. As far as God, me believing in God, I have a really hard time believing in Him. Not because He's invisible and He doesn't speak back to me, but because all these little kids getting tortured and raped and kidnapped from their family or what have you. I just think that maybe he should have taken a little bit of extra time to taken that power out of an adult to hurt a child.
We
And
have
that,
that
my
power.
friends.
We have that power to stop it.
Okay, so I actually started going to church, by the way,
Really?
Wow.
a non-denominational church.
Oh, they're the best.
Oh, and I cried the first time I was there. This was just
I always
recently,
cry
maybe
in
like
church.
7 months ago or 8 months ago. I went and I cried the first 2 times I went, and then the third time, the preacher started preaching about how another priest fell victim of Satan, evil ways, and he was molesting a child. And I'm thinking, at first, when I started going to this church again, this first 2 or 3 times, I was like, okay, maybe there is a guide. And then I'm like, because somebody once told me the reason why adults hurt kids is because they lost their way from God. Now here there is a priest, and I know in the Roman Catholic as well, it's very prominent in the Roman Catholic religion about priests touching children. I know that firsthand, not because I was touched, but because my classmate was touched by the priest. So that's why I have a lot of disbelief in there actually being a God, because I want him to explain to me when I'm standing in front of him why he gave us that power to hurt a child. And I don't want to hear it's free will, blah, 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 blah. Because nobody should be given that strength to do that to a child. I'm sorry. That's my outlook on God.
We're weak as humans. God's all powerful. He has all the power, but he can't tell us what to do. It's our choice.
I understand that, but like I said, he should have taken an 8th day and been like, listen, guys, just rearrange that from us not having that capability of hurting a child, because the Vatican has homeless people and children starving outside their walls. And how much are they worth? Billions of dollars? Wait a second here. Hold on. You have children starving and you're not feeding them, yet you have billions of dollars? I'm just confused about that. Like, I don't understand how that part exists. They should take a piece of artwork and feed the kids, not just outside
Yes,
the
yes,
thing, but
I
all
believe
around
that.
the world. They have the capabilities of helping children all around the world, but no, they neglect them and they hang their art on the wall and their super huge chair in the hallway and this gold and that amount of gold and this profit and that. No, it's not fair. I'm sorry.
Life's not fair.
I need to smoke something. Where's my weed?
Here,
Okay.
I gotta light it up.
Yeah, so that's my outlook on God. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I don't go to Catholic church anymore. I was raised Catholic. I have a spider hanging from my microphone. It's so cool.
Yeah,
I know,
right?
they were attacking me. I had to like brush out them off.
I
over here.
I
It's
walked
crazy.
in through a spider web, but I didn't want to act all like, ah!
He's right here. He's hanging.
He was crawling in
That's
the
great.
rig before.
But yeah, I went to Catholic church my whole life, and I don't go anymore. There's a lot of problems I have with it, although it's beautiful and traditional and nice to go there and see it. I just think they've lost their way, and the popes actually used to be warlords.
Aren't there a dozen popes?
I think they started off losing their way in the very beginning because they have always
It's all about power.
known they have done that to children. There's a whole bunch of like groups that like do things, mean things and horrible things to children. and I can't remember their names right now, but they're
But they still do, and then you have the Freemasons who founded this country, the Freemasons. I want to know more about the Freemasons. Because a Freemason killed George Floyd in that setup scenario. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, that video. That was a murder.
That was.
Intentional.
In
It was
cold
it was
blood.
done intentionally to kill him intentionally and to make a scene about it.
Who did you want to know about? What did you want to know about? The guy's name? You just said that you wanted to look him up. You were curious about him. The guy who killed George Floyd.
The cop?
No,
You said
he's a Freemason. Yeah. I know he's a Freemason.
Oh, you know about that?
I want to know more about the Freemasons because the Freemasons founded this country. And they were wrong. They were liars and racists, white supremacists. By today's standards, by any standards. By any standard. Right is right. If we lived back during those times, we would be out there as abolitionists fighting for this shit. I know all of us would be fighting against the slavery. They had people fighting against slavery back then, so they knew it was wrong. Yet they did it anyway because of the capitalist market economy was more important than civil rights. It was worth more to have a black person work for free and be abused than to pay them a wage. Not even. Why bring them? I know Christians that said, well, we brought black people here, we gave them a better life. Christians have told me that.
That's not nice. Is there such thing?
Right?
Is there such thing as white splaining? You know, like mansplaining.
And this is a white Christian, of course, and telling me that, oh, yeah, we brought black people here, they had a better life because a third world country they lived in over there. I'm like, they're very happy where they're at, I'm sure, and you're going to bring them here in chains and rape their women and beat them. Oh, yeah, it's a great life. How about we do that to you? See
I
how you
found
like
out
it.
something about Freemason. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm
No, I
sorry.
want to know more about the Freemasons.
Okay, it says here, a member of an international order established for mutual help and fellowship holds elaborate secret ceremonies. That's what I'm talking about.
See?
People like that. That's
See?
what they have secret ceremonies that actually, I don't even want to say it. I heard it and they actually lay the child down on the floor and slice the jugular, and I really don't want to say this. And then
Wait,
they-
what? Who did that?
There's an island that the elite go to.
Oh.
The Epstein Island.
And I forget the name of that island, and I forget the name of that group of people. They have. Let me see.
Because
But they
there
actually
was an
kidnap
Epstein
children,
Island.
and they actually sacrifice them to get their souls, so they can become younger. That's how Warren Buffett and all those men are like 100, 101, and they're still living, and they look like they're dead. Supposedly, those are the people that do this.
It's possible. The world could be a terrible place.
That's also a conspiracy theory that I didn't look that much into, just a little bit, because I didn't want to just discuss
So you know, I love conspiracy theories, and not because I actually ascribe to all of them, but I love the discussion of conspiracy theories. Like, I mean, some conspiracy theories, you know, by the basic minimum standard of what a conspiracy is, like a lot of things qualify. I'm not saying that I know the details of these things. Like, so for instance, like you can know that an official story contains logical contradictions. Like, you know, you don't have to be an architect to, you know, or a scientist to do logic. You know, like if you know logic, you can say, well, if you're saying this and you're saying this, that's contradictory. How do you resolve that? So if there's, you can know with more certainty that something didn't happen the way that it was said, more so than you can know with certainty that it happened in a particular way instead. How would you know those details? You know, so like, but the thing about conspiracy theories, without going into any particular one, is, okay, so assume it's true, whichever conspiracy theory we're talking about, from, you know,
Start with Jeffrey Epstein.
from Epstein to
'Cause he was
the
a conspiracy
Rothschilds
theory.
to, I mean, I think it's likely because the way the nature of the world is, he was probably a honeypot to entrap people in the United States, politicians or whoever, in compromising situations, indulging their disgusting appetites,
Right.
and getting blackmail on them. For whom is a different story. How would you know those details? So, but it seems pretty, I mean, obvious that's the kind of stuff that happens in the world. I just don't know the details about it. But it all comes down to, but that's just one example. So lizard people, which I don't believe in, but let's assume that's true too. Whatever the conspiracy theory is, what are you going to do about it? Whether it's a minor conspiracy or a huge evil conspiracy, even if you believe it, what are you going to do about it? if the aliens have taken over, or whatever the conspiracy is, right? If we have mind control chips already in the back of our head because of the COVID tests, or whatever.
I'm not taking that test.
I don't want it
It's
either.
not going in
But
my
but
nose.
whatever the conspiracy theory is, what are you gonna do about it? Assume it's true, right?
I'm not taking
Take it from the abstract into the real world. If you're not gonna really do anything different in your life, then it's just conversation, right?
Correct.
Like the same way, like there are people who have different religious beliefs. You can't really prove or disprove the core kernel of their belief system. That's the way religions work, a lot of them. Not that you should try to prove or disprove it, but at the end of the day, it's so what are you going to do? Are you not going to share a meal? You're not going to break bread with this person because you disagree with this abstract theory they hold? They're not burning you at the stake because one line in their holy book says to do that. So people can have really extreme beliefs, but if they're not going to act in really extreme ways, then they're just like talking points. Like here's my belief system. Because it seems like if we really thought that half these conspiracy theories were true, we would organize way better and like have a revolution or something. Like that.
We don't have time. The young kids today can't afford to take off of work to have a revolution.
That's a part of the conspiracy theory,
That's
right?
why
That's part of the
I
conspiracy
have
theory.
no idea if that's a part of, but that's reality. It's actually reality.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
they cannot afford to take off of work because I don't know. It's just
no
not
one's
like
at
it was
work right
when we
now.
were younger.
Well, I guess people are going back to work now, but
Yeah.
so the conspiracy theory thing is, so what are you gonna do different? If you're not gonna do anything different, then sensationalizing what that person believes is like a political tactic. Like especially in media or social media, like who cares if a person believes the earth is flat? Unless they're gonna hurt you or that's gonna get in the way of them treating you like a human being, what does it matter, really? Unless you're having a debate about abstract principles. So I think a whole bunch of stuff. I distrust the government immensely, and if the stuff that we know that they have done, the dishonest, inhuman stuff that our government, other governments, but just talking about our government, has done, if that's probably just like the tip of the iceberg, the shit that we don't know. So I
Yeah.
think it's a very rational position to be really skeptical and distrustful of government. So that breeds conspiracy theory. Like I already don't trust the government. I don't further than I could throw them. I think that they would, the government would easily sacrifice a few lives, which is a lot of lives probably. Not that I'm talking about COVID, just because it's going on. But I don't think the government would sneeze at that if it really believed that it was like national security, like the long-term goal is what we need to protect. So if X, Y, and Z, gotta break some eggs to make an omelet. Like governments make those decisions all the fucking time.
You're absolutely
all
right.
the
I agree with
time.
that 10,000%.
So but again, my favorite question here is, so what are you going to do, right? We live in a time where information is so heavily mediated. Like, that's where the COVID thing is a good example. Like, who knows what's really fucking going on? There's reason to be skeptical of some things. There's reason not to be skeptical of other things. There's strong arguments on both sides, hinging on one tiny little difference in what you think about the information that's available, which is a lot of it is competing, and the official information changes. So it's like, I'm not saying this shit's fake, but I mean, there's room to have rational skepticism about individual particular, let's call them talking points, about this particular social thing that's going on, which is the COVID pandemic, right? I don't trust the government as far as I can throw them. They lie about everything. So that's awful to say to someone who's like, well, my grandpa died of COVID. Yeah, I know someone whose dad died of COVID, and not fell down the stairs and they said he died of COVID, but I don't know what the answer is. How are you supposed to act ethically when you don't know what's really going on? Because we have such an, that's part of the reason why we're not having that revolution you're talking about. Not that I'm advocating any kind of violent, treasonous actions, but people are so placated by, you were saying it before. Damn, I lost my train of thought.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey.
Oh, about the
He didn't commit suicide.
People in wheelchairs getting shot by rubber bullets.
That's true.
yeah. What's up with that?
It's just more of the
Mothers
same.
getting
more the
shot
same.
with rubber bullets.
Yeah,
in their
mothers
forehead,
in
their
the back,
forehead.
getting shot in the back. Come on, they're
Rifles
really.
put to children's faces.
Come
Rifles.
I mean, like, so here's the irony, right? Here's the problem: is that all of that is terribly unethical, and we should do everything that, natural law, right, allows to maintain our rights and our human dignity. But that's a losing battle, right? You can't fight the state. Maybe if we, in terms of like, for educational theory, like I mean purposes, like, if there was a time for a social revolution to actually have a changing of the guard in terms of the power influences in our government, it would have been before the internet. It would have been before I carried around the science fiction surveillance device with me everywhere I go. Like if you were really going to be a threat to the established power of the state, even if that power was illegitimate, if you were an actual threat, you would be discovered, infiltrated, co-opted, and probably turned into a media spectacle in order to further propaganda against what they say that you are. So how do you have a successful social movement when the state apparatus, which is the state and corporate power, which I guess is technically fascist, but that's a different semantic discussion, when the state can, that was the question. Well, just going all over the place today. That was the question we were talking about yesterday. Is I think this whole thing about police violence hinges on whether or not the police are ethically justified to use violence against you for you violating some statute that's non-violent and doesn't hurt anybody. Like, for instance, the kid in Ridgewood. Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the kid, they closed the streets in Ridgewood so businesses could have outdoor dining. And there was a group of bikes. I'm just repeating basically what I read. A group of kids on bikes was trying to go through the closed road, and the police stopped them and said, no, this is closed. And one of the kids decided to go anyway, so they tackled him and put him under arrest. He's 15. It doesn't help that he was the only person of color in the group. But, so I mean, how much of a danger was, were those kids, was that kid's actions that you need to physically assault him? So, I mean, like, I think this whole thing about the police violence rests on whether or not the state is justified to do that. Because if you don't have to stop when the cop is like, I'm writing you a speeding ticket, or I'm writing you a parking ticket, and you're like, well, no, I don't consent. I'm gonna leave. Well, the cop.
We'll beat you. Well, they'll beat me.
Well, I mean, so what is the police officer supposed to do then in order to enforce the statute? I don't know the answer to that question, but it feels like if the answer is no matter what the law is, if you refuse to comply, even if it's for a $20 parking ticket or something, then they can beat you up in order to arrest you so that they can serve you with the original thing they were trying to get you in trouble for. Then doesn't that mean that we live in like a police state where the police can beat you up literally for not doing anything wrong, but simply violating a statute and not wanting to comply with, and not agreeing, not consenting to the idea that they've manufactured, which is that you've somehow endangered the community and now they're ethically justified to somehow attempt to penalize you. Like,
Police officer ask you to stop, though.
Grab that mic. Grab the yellow mic right there. Give him that yellow mic.
so
Yeah.
I don't know what the
There you
answer
go.
is,
Thank
but I think this whole thing hinges on what the answer to that is.
What was that question? I'm sorry.
It was whether or not the police have absolute ethical justification to use physical force against you in order to give you a ticket, which is what they do all the time.
A ticket for a bicycle.
Or for smoking weed, or for, parking in the wrong place or something.
Well, they used to arrest you and beat you up for marrying a white woman if you were black.
Well, that's a huge problem.
So
Or how about gays? They used to beat up gays.
yeah.
I got beaten up myself by a New York City cop, and I sued New York State, and I actually won the lawsuit against him.
It's a
And I
terrible
was
story.
brutally beat up.
I'm
While
sorry.
two cops stood there and watched him beat me. People were pulling over trying to help me, and he was screaming at them, "Get the F away from here before I arrest you!" And they were just driving off because they saw how crazy he was. It was like the strangest thing in the world. I could not even believe this was happening. I couldn't even believe it was happening, but it happened in broad daylight.
It's awful.
It was awful. I mean, I did tell him to go F himself after he was screaming at me. It's a little bit of a story. I'm not going to get into it, but I still don't think because I told him to go F himself gave him the right to pull me from my car and beat me.
No, of course not. Police have a really difficult job because they have to hold themselves to a higher standard and not just like be emotional and be like, oh, I feel disrespected in my ego, and
Right.
punch someone or treat them roughly.
Right.
They're supposed to do the exact opposite. Like,
Protect and serve. Protect, not beat. Protect and serve.
If a cop asks you to stop, though, you're gonna, a normal person would stop. A normal person would stop if you're not doing anything wrong to begin with. By disrespecting the cop or going on, you're kind of like antagonist. Not saying the cop had a right to do that. No physical violence for that. He could have grabbed the bike instead of tackling the kid. Grab the bike or something. You don't have to tackle the kid. If the kid pulled a weapon or was running, then that's something. If you didn't want that, that whole incident could have been avoided if they just didn't go that way.
They didn't have the large ego that they have because they think they could do
Right.
whatever they want in front of their brothers because their brothers won't sing
Yeah.
on them. I am the first-hand witness of that, and I know that's true for a fact.
And now it's being filmed, so
Well, it is what it is.
this has been going on forever. It's just being filmed now.
well, that does raise a genuine question, though, right? Which is that's true. It's completely true that, like logically, if the person in question, like this kid in Ridgewood, if he didn't, I guess, to give the police as much leeway as possible here, right? If the police, if he didn't try to run from the police when they were talking to him, then they wouldn't have done that. Now, while that seems true, right? So that brings up the question of I gotta stop smoking this. You guys should smoke some of this.
Well, speaking about police
people
brutality,
out there that it comes out that are just ignorant, and I mean it's really about common sense. You know what's going on in the world today. You know the situation. Why are you going to add heat to the fire, flames to the fire, whatever? Like it's just you're just adding to the problem doing that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You reminded me of my point, which is that it's fear, right? So why would a kid run from the police? Even if you have an ethical argument, like, well, they shouldn't stop me for this. I'm not doing anything wrong. But if you have no fear of the police, what's the problem to just stop, right? If you don't fear the police at all. So I would think that the culture of police violence, in terms of like the media coverage of it, I don't know if it's the same as it's been. I mean, certainly not the protests were, and the repression and shit. That wasn't happening previous. But I mean, before that started, like, was it going on the same amount, or, is it going on more now? But the media seems to be reporting on it more. I don't mean that the media is like to blame necessarily. But I think that, does that contribute to that kid's state of mind where he's like, I'm not going to stop for these cops? Is it like a self-fulfilling prophecy? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Is it almost like the police have these parameters that they operate by? And if you don't fear them, right, and you're really not doing anything wrong, there is a chance that they'll treat you with respect. So, I mean, but if you are afraid of them, and then that creates, that triggers their protocol of how to deal with you, which then becomes the thing that you were afraid would happen, who do you blame there? How do you spread out the blame on the different factors influencing the two different actors' decisions? I mean, one of them is that kid who feared the police, you know? I guess we could think of a third option where he's just, like a total asshole, right? And was just like, fuck these guys, and just wanted to do his own thing. You can't totally discount that, and I don't know how much that weighs on what I'm saying, but the police officer also could have acted differently. So it's like there's at least two things going on. And the police officer part is the defund the police argument, right? Talking about that, like changing the way that the police interact with the public. And just that side of it. Never mind that child's actions, but the side of the way the police respond, that could change, which would or should change how people conceive of the police, and then they won't think that they're going to get beat up for being brown or skinned or I don't know. I mean, I'm ascribing. I don't know what was really in that kid's mind, but he basically, if you want to put it that way, he ran from the police when they were trying to talk to him. So if he could have been less afraid, and the police, there was less for him to be afraid of, it probably wouldn't have happened. And I'm not saying that, the blame is on both sides. I'm saying it's like a feedback loop. And I don't know exactly where it starts, but I know that we could affect it by working with attempting to reform the way the police is structured and the way they interact with us. Because you can't fix the public. You can't legislate ideas, or even if you want to be condescending, you can't legislate common sense. You can't do that. And then how are we going to tell that kid that he's wrong for being afraid? That's the other problem. Like, their experience is valid, even though our response to it is that we're attempting to be rational, right? But and I think that's also, we were talking earlier about how that's a big part of this argument is we have to believe what they say when they say, we're oppressed. We have to believe what they say. Look, I'm afraid of these people because of what's going on in my community. If they're talking about police, we can't just jump to conclusions and say, well, you're wrong for this or that reason, or I disagree with your thesis. That's their experience. We have to have empathy and take them at face value. So all these things combined, we could affect both sides of that interaction, because it's a feedback loop. We could improve police relations with, protocol with the public. There's a bunch of different theories on how to do that. And that would also have the effect of reducing the public's fear, the most vulnerable section of the public, the ones who are most affected. You'd think that they would fear the police less if the police became less brutal, if that's an oversimplification. They'd fear the police less. And then that would, end the cycle of violence, what they say? However we fucking do it, right? I'm not blaming the victim here. I'm saying that they would be a recipient of action in the feedback loop of change. And then that would help solve the problem even further.
Well, I have a question. How did the young man actually break through the barricade? If it was barricaded street, how did he break through this barricade if there's a line of policemen there to get in? The whole thing is just questionable. We don't know what happened beforehand.
Sure.
We have no idea. All we saw was the cops.
I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, and for the sake of the argument, I assume that there was, wooden sawhorses or something across, but not completely blocking it because people have to walk in.
Boys and girls, it's 1 o'clock.
Oh.
Time for your 1 o'clock dab. We're going to play a Susio song for you. For 1 o'clock. For your 1 o'clock dab.
I haven't heard this in a while.
That's there. You gotta pay.
Smoke 'em up, everybody. Fire it up. Yeah. Marley's smiling at all you right now, doing your dabs and your joints. Yes.
Roll something. Very, very good.
Tomorrow.
All I know is pasto. Call up my connect and get them pounds of OG Tahoe. Got everybody in New Jersey dabbing that BHO. Newark, Psycho, the La Juro, my Sagrado. Hey, Papo. All I know is pasto. Call up my connect and get them pounds of OG Tahoe. Got everybody in New Jersey dabbing that BHO. Newark, Psycho, the La Juro, my Sagrado. Hey.
Hey. Rah. Man, I can't believe Marley's gone. I can't believe this.
Instagram it like it's legal. I run I know you niggas heard. My own team and all the rest can get the third. It's fact, not fiction. It's everything I'm spitting. My Rastafari white culture will put holes in two religions.
Papo.
All I know is pasto. Call up my connect and get them pounds of OG Tahoe.
What's that?
It's like he's eulogizing himself with this song, listing all of his achievements and his clout. It's sad and impressive at the same time.
He was an amazing musician. He had a great voice. When he did his raps, very distinct. He reminded me of the guy from Public Enemy, Chuck D. Is that the guy? Yeah.
Yes.
He's got that distinct voice that you knew. That's Susio right there. He's killing it. Killing it with the tracks, man. We're going to play a couple more tracks for you. Oh, sorry, I got you locked on there. Yeah, we got a couple more tracks for you. And we're going to do something different with the list today. Not going to do the regular list. We're going to tweak the list for Marley today. We're going to do a little different. I'm not letting Marley go out without something different. And you'll see what I mean. I got plans. Yeah, man. Marley was my man. He's the best.
He was extremely kind-hearted soul.
Yes.
Such a nice, gentle soul. A pleasure to be around.
Yeah, man.
Gone
Totally.
way too early.
Yeah.
What's that, Michelle?
He's gone way
Oh,
too early.
Yeah.
I guess though it's God's plan. God has a plan for him, like he has everything else. Unbelievable.
I really thought he was going to beat that.
I
He
did
was
too.
fighting it. He had access to Fico. He was taking Fico, but he didn't like the Fico because the Fico would knock him on his ass. And I mean, he's a pothead. But with the Fico was so strong that he needed to take a gram a day for 90 days. It was just too much. It knocked him out, and he couldn't function at that level
he
of.
just had to work. That's his problem. His
Yeah.
problem was he needed to work all the time, and that was a great thing. Great man for doing that. But I mean, he just had to slow down. He wasn't gonna do that.
And I feel so bad that I missed that last party.
Yeah, me too.
I was, man.
It was a horrible day too. It was raining horribly, and I mean, nobody knew it was gonna stop. I wish I went there and just picked up a meal and just saw him.
I wanted to see him after that.
Yeah,
I said, I'll see him later.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
need to have a party to see Marley. I'll see him during the week by himself. We'll have a good time. And I just never got there.
Because he's only 45 years old. He's a baby. He shouldn't be dead.
Yeah, he's younger than me.
Younger than me. Maybe he was 46. I don't even know.
Like 47, 48.
No, I'm 48. I think he was 45. I'm not sure. Somebody has to know.
He told me he was damn near 50.
Oh, 45, same difference. I mean, that's close enough to 50.
Shit, don't scare me.
Please, I can't wait till I'm 50. That'd be so cool. Since having the 5-0 instead of the 4-8.
I'm the big 5-0.
I know you're old lady.
I am, and that's why I don't dye my hair.
I don't know. That's why I do dye my hair. I don't want to look old, but
I
I gotta hide those grades.
No, because I don't have any wrinkles in my face, and then when I dye my hair, I got like little 27 and 28 years old. Yo, what's up, lady? And I'm just like, it's.
Give her the mic. Give her the mic.
I don't dye my hair because, well, there's a couple reasons, but one of them is because like little 27 and 28 year olds, they're like, lady, what's up? And I don't like that. It's not.
So you're turning down young male suitors?
Yes.
I would
Okay.
do that too. I mean, they're
Yes.
babies.
Because here is okay, you know, but I'm going to be very honest. I'm 50 years old. You take the bra off, you got 50-year-old boobies there. They're not like 25-year-old boobies that they're used to, and it's, you know, it's not for me.
It's like, surprise!
Yeah.
That's
Ain't
not
nothing you
nice.
could do about it. It's the truth. They're 50 years old.
You got to give these young guys some more credit.
Huh? Give the young guys. Oh, they don't care. Open with large.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, but
I'm
we
just joking
care.
about that.
We care.
Absolutely.
I can't judge because I got man titties now, so I can't judge.
Yeah, you do.
No man has the right to judge any woman because her breasts sag. You guys balls sag. Excuse my language.
Oh, well.
We
Right?
get
Am I
old, we
right
all
about that?
sag about
They do.
everything.
Everything sags.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. You can't help it. And then being
Gravity
Italian,
wins.
being Italian and stir. Whoa.
I'll borrow your lighter.
I got such quarantine weight. I'm like 230 now.
Oh,
So I got
God.
these huge man tits, and it's not working for me. I need to slim down. Not
How
a
do
good
you
look
get-
for me.
How do you get rid of the man boobs?
The man
Swim.
tits. I call them tits.
How do you get rid of them?
It's more embarrassing when I say man tits, and it makes me want to get rid of them.
Bind them so they go flat.
Bind them.
Put a bra on.
Oh my God.
Yeah, put a bra on.
Good imagery
Not a
right
bra.
there.
Bind them with a
Same
ace bandage.
thing.
How about some Wendy Williams electrical tape, like the plasmatics
No,
girl?
with a ace
Some-
bandage.
Ace bandage.
You have duct tape in there. We could do it now.
Duct tape is more like
Sounds
yeah,
comfortable.
Yeah.
That's what a bra is, like duct
Is,
tape.
is boob sweat comfortable for you, or you want the?
Yeah, it's disgusting. I hate wearing a bra. This
Oh,
is it's foul.
This escalated quickly. I love it.
Sorry,
No, I
sorry.
got 50-year-old boobies. I gotta wear a bra.
Yeah.
All guys love boobs, so don't worry about it.
No, I'm not sweating it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Well, guys
That's
love
a
boobs
pun.
no matter what they look like.
Correct. Enough with the boobie talk.
Boobies.
I love boobies. I love boobies.
You do too? You love girls' boobs?
I do love girls.
Really?
I love everything about them.
Girls have pretty boobs. Boys have like no boobs. It's just not supposed to be there, but they are.
You haven't seen sumo wrestling.
Oh.
I've seen sumo wrestling where the guys have really nice, big. Yeah, you would never know the difference.
But they're firm, right?
No, no.
Yeah, no firmness up in here.
They're all jiggly. Like
Yeah,
Jello.
pretty jiggly.
Yeah.
I'll show you some pictures later.
Okay.
Hey, when they hit each other,
Sure.
it's like a rippling
That sounds
wave.
cool,
You
Lefty.
can
Let's
see
see the
ripple.
pictures of sumo wrestlers' tits and compare them to yours.
I got sumo tits.
Oh my God! I gotta see them now. I can see them
Whip 'em
mentally in
out.
my head.
Whip them out.
Oh, that's terrible.
Don't
Side-
shoot him.
side
He's
boob.
sexy.
I'm
Side
not gonna shoot him. Are you gonna show us the boobies?
I don't want to see Lefty's boobs.
No, it's a sumo guy I want to show you. There's a sumo guy.
You don't want to show the boobies.
I don't want to see his boobies.
I'm usually out here with my shirt
He's
off
out with no shirt
anyway.
all the time
I don't know
anyway.
why I'm even wearing a shirt today because it's all sticky and sweaty and.
Yeah, that's what I say about walking down the street with a shirt on. That makes some damn sense to me.
Too much.
And pants. I walk with pants, shirt, and shoes and socks. That's so stupid. It's what you have to do to be like presentable in the world.
The concrete's hot. I'd wear shoes.
I walk with just shoes. That's it. Shoes and you don't need nothing else. As long as you don't get arrested, you're good. In New York City, you could do that. In Times Square, you could walk around naked. You can.
I was gonna say.
Not
We're-
naked,
but-
topless. Women are allowed to be topless in New York City.
Yeah,
not naked.
in
Yes,
Times
it's
Square, they
the-
can walk around topless. But
In
I
New
thought you
York
could be
City.
But
totally naked.
if you were
No.
walking around totally naked, where would you keep your stuff?
No,
Yeah,
you cannot
right?
walk
You
around.
need a fan- you need a
You don't,
fanny
you don't
pack.
have any
If
pockets.
you got droopy boobs, just keep it under your boobs.
Easy, buddy.
Then
You
it will
can't
f-
keep
it
them under
will-
the
you-
boobs,
it will
okay?
fall, it
Because
will
sometimes they
fall.
start swaying when you walk, and the shit will slip out.
It will
okay?
fall. And you have to
It'll
have
fall
a
out.
cell phone on you, so where you put your cell
That'd
phone?
be, if Lefty could do that, that'd be a whole new thing to a man purse, you know? Like,
Grab that mic. Grab that mic. I can hear you. A man, did you say a man purse? Grab that mic in front of you. What did you say? A man
I
purse?
think he was making euphemisms.
Of man purse?
yeah, no, if you could put something under your boob, you know, like, it's like, hey, all you gotta do is when you're going out, really, you gotta have what, your driver's license or a license on it. So
Yeah,
well,
you
you don't
gotta
need a
think, right.
top. You got a top, you know, just
Get a fold
yeah,
and
just put it under there and just do.
yeah, one or two cards you can do.
Yeah.
Not a whole stack, but you can do a couple of
But
cards.
Where do you put your phone?
Under the other boob.
You crack your ass.
All right, the
You
crack
have
of the
your
ass I
friend
can
hold it.
see kind of. I have a big ass. So
No
I
one,
mean,
no one to borrow your phone then.
you want to hear my phone? Really, I didn't put my crack on my ass.
No, you hold it in your hand.
Yeah, like everybody else. Just film your life like
I
everybody
have two
else.
canes I walk with, so no. Yeah, I got to put it on my forehead. I strap it to my forehead and walk down the street like that.
I know a
Put
guy
it
used
in
to strap it
around
to
your-
his chest and walk around.
I was gonna say put it around your neck like on a
Yeah, he does have
Like
a
a
thing
rope.
around his
Strap
neck.
it to your cane.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you got a cane.
you
Put it
go.
on your
Just
cane.
Strap it to the cane.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
have two canes though.
Right.
So choose
You
one.
could actually have two phones
Talk
now.
into the I can talk.
You can have two phones.
I'm getting a
One for
wheelchair,
each.
another wheelchair soon. Yay.
Is it electrical?
Yeah, but I'm getting my patch, so I'll be able to walk. I have a patch. It's gonna go here and on the back. It's a Teo patch. I have no idea what it is, and it costs a hell of a fucking lot of money. But it's supposed to make you walk. Athletes, football players use it, basketball players use it. So it has to have some
Okay.
kind of
The
something to it.
You're talking about the tape? The tape, like, what is it?
Teo patch, Teo patch,
It's like, is it
T-A-O
tape?
patch. It's a patch you put here on the neck and the back of the neck, and if you buy the whole set, you put them. I don't know where you put them, but I mean,
Helps you to walk.
Never heard
it helps you walk. It shows people with MS that use this have been able to walk better.
Right.
You have balance. All I have is no balance. If I had balance, I wouldn't need my two canes. I could use my one cane again. Maybe no, I doubt no canes, but we're going to see. It's going to come in August. So when I get these patches, I want you to see me put them on and see me walk.
All right. I have a question for you. What was your favorite place for Marley's party?
I like the one in Hoboken because I'm just biased to Hoboken.
Hoboken.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was
That was
his
the
first
one-
Thanksgiving
The first Thanksgiving, where was that?
in Newark.
Oh, and no. Oh, yeah, with the
That-
stairs.
At the biker bar.
No, it
The
wasn't.
biker-
It wasn't.
Oh,
The
in
other one.
yeah,
stairs.
that
It
was that was in
it
Jersey
was,
City.
It was by a mechanic
Jersey
place,
City?
but there was no stairs to get in the first one at all. You walked right in. And
Yes, yes.
there was another
Right.
one that had no stairs.
That
but
was
my
a good
favorite
one.
one out of all of his ones was the very first one. The first Thanksgiving.
I like the one in Whippany because it was close to my house. I didn't have to drive far.
Yeah, I don't even remember any of the places that I went to. I don't know exactly where the places were. They were just there. I just was brought there.
You just got in the
I
car
just got in
and
the car and they brought me there.
La, 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 la.
I knew Hoboken was there because I knew where it was. But the one in Jersey City, that was a really cool. It was a biker bar kind of
Yeah,
deal. Yeah.
yes.
You just walked in. There was no like stairs at all.
That was
The
a
other one
good
in
one.
Hoboken had an escalator, an elevator, and that was hard to get in. But the one in Jersey City was great. That was a good one. Holy shit, man, Marley. Motherfucker, man. Unfucking believable.
Hey, you want to hear another song? Let's play another song from Marley. He was so good.
I'm Mr. Nice
That's it.
Guy. Everybody know me. I buy a pound, break it down, and throw it in a stogie. I'm Mr. Nice Guy. Everybody know me. Buy a pound, break it down, throw it in a stogie. Smokers only in my section. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on. You ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on. You ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on. You ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. That shit I smoke is out as fuck, and your shit be barely stinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on. You ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on. You ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on. You ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. That shit I'm smoking is loud as fuck, and your shit be barely stinking. If it don't shatter, it don't matter. I need quality pot. You think you smoking on what I'm smoking on, but you probably not. I'm on that Mary Jane wine, Cinderella 99. I see you smoking on what you smoking on, it ain't better than mine. I got a Beast Coast connection, baby, buds are us. A natural born stoner, you should fucks with us. If it ain't stankin', it ain't dank, then no pass it to me. I need about 0 CBDs and a bunch of THC. I graduated from the International Smokers Academy. I majored marijuana, but my minor was anatomy. I met 2 stoner chicks, let's call them Kimberly and Natalie. The father was a grower and he sold it to the faculty. Got a half a gram of my suture vape, it's turned on, it's packed in. I take a pull till my lungs is full, I'm puffed till the last drag in. And I'm high as hell, I'm dabbed out, my eyes low, might pass out. If you ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you can get your ass out. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. That shit I smoke is out as fuck, and your shit be barely stinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking best come around. And all that weed that you've been waiting for, I got it by the pound. And the numbers are so loaded, I don't gotta break it down. And we don't cross the bridge for nothing, I heard Jersey got it now. If it smell right, then it sell right. Not the moldy and stale type. I take a gram and grind it up and stuff it in my peace pipe. Dirty bong water as seen on IG. I show the cops my weed card when they ask me for ID. Ain't got a license to drive, but I got a license to smoke. I offer dabs to my company to watch niggas choke. The Brick City representative bring the west to the east. They call my edibles incredible when they hit the streets. I'm medicated and medicate, I wake then I bake. I'm on a higher level than you, let's get that straight. This is a cannabis community, so come on in. Every day is 420, every night is 710. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. That shit I smoke is out as fucking, your shit be barely stinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. You ain't smoking on what I'm smoking on, you ain't drinking on what I'm drinking. That shit I'm smoking is out as fucking, your shit be barely stinking.
They're gonna fix this roof's broken.
That's true.
That was all truth. That was all truth.
That shit, Michelle's smoking is loud as fuck. And your shit is barely stinking.
It's acupuncture. It's little.
What are you doing over there? What are you
10,000
talking
times
about over
smaller
there? What are you
human
doing?
hair combining acupuncture with light therapy, which
The
it's
tail
nothing.
patch, which I'm getting.
It's
That's
just
what
like
she's
a
looking
light-
up.
No,
It's like
I'm here.
acupuncture.
Oh, okay.
It's like acupuncture, she said. I didn't give a shit what it was. It was a patch I stuck on my neck, on my back of my neck.
How could something be like acupuncture if you're
Make
not getting
sure
a
it's-
pinch?
All right,
Stuck
let's
to
get
your
back to
skin.
Marley because I want to
Yeah.
know what was the best weed that Marley ever had for you? That Marley ever had. What was the best weed or the most stoned you got with Marley, and why?
At one of his parties, and I'll never forget this. I'll never have it again. I'm sure, unless somebody out there can get it for me. What it was root beer dab.
Root beer dabs.
Root beer dab. And-
What?
yeah, and it tastes like fucking root beer. And I'm like, oh my god. When he said root beer dabs, I like root beer, so give me that one. And it was like he gave me. I was like, oh my god, it tastes like fucking root beer. And I never had a dab like that ever. I never had a dab that actually tasted what it sounded like. I mean, what did it sound like? Like lemon juice. It tastes like lemon, but root beer actually tastes like I was drinking a root beer. It was a good thing. That was the best dab I ever had in my life. And not that long of a dab life.
The most stoned I ever was when he had the big bowl onto the air mattress pump. And it was a huge waste of weed, but I
Yeah.
stood right in front of it while he shot it right in my face. I never had so much.
He did that at a lot of parties, didn't he? It was like hot boxing, but like everybody was there.
Oh man, that was a good one.
Wow.
I had to go outside to get air. 'Cause
We're
I
never
couldn't
gonna
breathe.
have that again, are we?
What are we gonna do? We're gonna do something.
I mean, we could.
Nobody can
try to-
replace what.
No,
I
not
don't know.
replace him at all. I think that what he did, one of the things that he did was he showed us how. I don't want to say one person. I'm sure he was a team, but how one person can support a community, basically. How one person could do so. He provided a space for patients.
He touched all our lives, no matter how different we all were. He was there, and I feel so bad.
So, I think that there are probably other people that want to
Yeah.
help. Help everyone out
No,
there in
I'm sure
internet
there are a lot of
land.
people out there, but
We were talking about trying to organize some kind of event.
yeah. What's the event, Lefty, that you organized
we
for him?
It's in the theoretical stages.
Yeah, Danny Price wants to help out,
Oh,
and
okay.
we want to get something together.
Where would it be at? In Newark? That's where he's from. I would assume. I don't know. I mean, I don't know his daughters. I don't know his family at all. I would love to meet them all. not the place though. It's not the time.
Well, there's going to be something on Friday, some kind of a
Yeah,
service.
there
I know.
is.
I know that, and we'll figure it out from there.
We have to honor him in some special way that
Yeah.
that brought us all together, like he used to do. He brought us all together.
Mhm.
I mean, we could. I think it's a good idea. I'll contribute something for this as well. You know, some money. We could do an event like what he would have done, in terms of like a barbecue with with a medicated plate for patients, and
Thanksgiving's coming up.
and local people of people who have tables, like someone will have a table or another person have a table, like his events do, so that people can have access to what they need.
And all the vendors there, you met so many people that you would never met anyplace else. You
Let's
could
do
never
it.
meet those people.
Thanksgiving. Let's do it. Thanksgiving.
And even if it's social distancing, we have to figure out something. We'll figure out something.
Thanksgiving.
Who's
At
got
the
a
s-
who's
at
got a
the steakhouse.
medicated barbecue recipe?
Oh, God.
Everybody.
I never ate collard greens before. I ate his collard greens at Thanksgiving. I was like, oh my God, these are so good. I never ate
Yeah,
them before.
I
We need
think
that.
that was the
Best sweet potatoes I ever had in my whole life.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
There you
sweet
go.
potatoes
I
from
know.
the first Thanksgiving.
I know.
My God, that was, I don't know, that
Sure, every
and
time
I
I-
want that recipe. We should definitely make that.
It's macaroni and cheese. Oh, yeah, I miss that. Oh.
So yeah, we should do something like that in his honor
Yeah.
to carry on the things that he was doing.
Dirty bong water, where does that go?
Dirty bong water. I'm gonna miss.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's
do you
everything.
think his daughters will?
Uh,
I don't know. I mean, somebody has to know how to do it.
The water was so
Besides
good.
him.
It was so good.
He used to sell that all over the East Coast.
Yeah, right?
Go north, south. He used to sell it everywhere. People loved dirty bong water.
It was such a cool name.
Oh man. I hope they continue that. Then, if they need help continuing
Yeah,
that, I'll
exactly.
sure to help them. They kind of had a brand there. I mean, it's,
Yeah, it's a brand name.
it's
I mean, somebody's got to be doing money off of it.
so
Well, I mean, it's up to whoever the they is then, right?
right. If
If there's a
whoever
they.
the family,
His wife,
the family.
and his kids. I mean, whatever. If they,
Right, but I mean, I'm not about to
No,
assume
I mean, if they
Yeah.
wanted
anything.
to, if
I
they
don't know what
wanted
the
to.
situation.
I don't
know
know.
nobody.
I know she helped him cook a lot of edibles and stuff. So whatever the family wants at this point.
Oh man.
I'm just a.
I mean, so that's one of my I think that's my best experience was when I mentioned it before, the 3 Thanksgivings ago, or was it 5 or 6? I don't know, where everyone was asleep in their cars. And I remember, if not for that was one of the first times I think I had that big of an edible dose, like the first time that I had something over 100 milligrams, and I remember being quite medicated, and thank God I had some caffeine, so I everything worked out and I got home safely. But yeah, my back did not hurt. My back did not hurt.
Yeah.
And he was doing those medicated meals. He was like, I'll I don't know if I'm being generous or underestimating, like 5 years ahead of everything that everyone was doing, like medicated meals and things. Remember when that started to pop off? Everyone was waiting
And he
for
delivered them.
Everyone was waiting. All right, no bullshit. Everyone was waiting for the laws to protect them. And Marley's just like, fuck you, I know it's right.
Yep.
I mean, that's why these songs are almost like a eulogy to him. Like, he's listing the shit he's doing. He's like, IG on, I put it on IG like it's legal. I mean, not for nothing. I don't know of him ever getting fucked with in his, for
right?
any of the shit that he was doing. He was just blatantly out there with it. And, it's like, he was way ahead of people for having the balls to do that.
No.
Like,
yeah,
everyone else that
exactly,
was out there
exactly.
was, I don't want to say hiding behind, but using some gimmick to be like, this is why you can't touch me. He was just like, yeah, this is what I do. Fuck you.
Yeah, right?
I mean,
Yeah, I'm the other guy. I'm like, I got a card. Haha, nanny poo poo. That was me.
I'm not downplaying that, but
Marley didn't want. He just no. gonna sell weed. It's gonna sell weed, and good weed too. Dabs. He showed me the first time I ever seen a slab. He showed me a huge slab. I was like, wow, look at that.
I mean, you can be outside of, like, right, like, so this comes back to what we were talking about before. You can be outside of statute, right? You can violate statute. Statute says this is wrong, this is illegal, this is not allowed, you know, but it's not wrong morally or ethically to do the things that say, like, Marley was doing. So it's like, in my mind, that kind of reminds me of what we were talking about earlier, about how, you know, like, am I being over, melodramatic to say that, you know, had he had worse luck? I don't want to say worse luck. That's not fair. But I mean, like, in another reality or another timeline or whatever you want to say, you know, like, he could have encountered law enforcement over what he was doing, which he's literally like I don't know the word for it. He was helping the community. He really was. So when
The new Red Cross.
no way should he, God forbid, no matter what the circumstances, he shouldn't get roughed up for what he's doing. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, thank God that never happened. You know, I mean, although it went a different way.
Cool about what he did.
But I mean, so that's another question: is that if what you're doing is right? I don't want to really bring that back up. I'm sorry, but I think my point was that what he was doing was he was doing the right thing. You know, he was doing the right thing. He didn't have a Maserati. You know what I mean?
He had a nice car though.
He had a nice,
I don't know what it was. but
monthly payments get you a nice car.
It was.
I'm not saying that he couldn't afford a car. I'm just saying that, like, he didn't have a nice car, but he wasn't Rolexes, and he wasn't designer this, and he didn't whatever he took in for his nonprofit enterprise that he was running, he didn't spend it on himself.
He had a family to take care of.
Yeah.
He
So
bought a
it's-
house. Beautiful.
For
I
his
mean,
family, for
yeah.
his whole family to live
I mean,
in,
his
his
dad
dad,
and everything.
everybody.
It was,
Yeah.
I mean, that takes care of the community.
Yeah,
How many
yeah.
people has he taken care of?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like,
selfless. I mean, he's.
I just think that he was like I don't want to be, again, melodramatic. He was like a pillar of our community for the things that he did.
If there's superheroes of the
And
weed
it's-
world, he was one of them.
It's really unfortunate the way that it went down, you know. So yeah, we're gonna have that barbecue. It's gonna be good.
No, Thanksgiving.
We'll do Thanksgiving. We could do a barbecue. We could do
Barbecue,
both.
I want medicated barbecue sauce. Like that's my
Yeah.
Too. That
right.
was good.
Like it was just dipped everything else in it. It was great.
We can barbecue in November.
I don't see why you wouldn't. Like a grill would work still.
Well, you can do it. But I want collard greens
Of course, collard
and
greens.
stuffing.
Of course. All right. Well, you know.
And macaroni and cheese on the side.
I don't have anybody blocked.
You have every.
I don't have anybody blocked on here. Hold on. There's nobody blocked on here. What are you talking about? Now I gotta check that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt the show with bullshit here.
Yeah,
It's just,
Lefty and his block people. If somebody blocks them.
I've blocked about 30 people in the past month or two
Yeah, so have I.
because of
Because
this,
people are
because
stupid.
of my support for Black Lives Matter. Not my support for George Soros, but my support for the plight of what black people are going through in this country and now, and I support that, and I'm not being paid, and people want to say shit. They want to bip, 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 bip. So, goodbye.
That's when you disconnect yourself.
I
with
can't, I
the
have no
community.
energy for that anymore.
Well, just say bye-bye.
As you can see, we have a short time on this earth, and I don't have time and energy for, if you're not on my team, you're on the other team. So, good luck with that. Good
Alright,
luck with Republican Jesus.
That's a good segue into how do we save the world?
How do you know
Right.
Jesus wasn't Republican?
Jesus.
68% of Jesus' miracles were for the disabled. Did you know that?
So maybe it was different back then.
That's a strong argument. I'll give you that.
What am I looking for? Oh, a block list.
Woof, woof, woof.
I don't have a block list on here. Oh my God.
Where did Carol go?
What? Oh.
No.
I'm hearing things and it's not good for radio. What?
I know, I'm so...
I'm hearing random things.
There's nothing back here. The cats aren't here. They didn't even eat the food today.
I like it better when Adam's rambling.
Yeah, Adam,
Oh,
come on, ramble.
Come on, can you ramble some more,
come on.
please?
Oh man.
Don't slow down because you're smoking.
Oh,
That
man.
makes us look stupid.
Oh jeez. All right.
Come on,
I'm searching for something
Okay,
right
so that's
now.
what I was gonna say. So we should save the world, right?
Save the world. How?
Because-
Tell me.
well,
Well,
alright, so
hemp can save the
Hemp
world.
can save the world, but specifically, well, like mortality in general is kind of a good impetus, right? A good reminder, like you just said, that our time is limited. You know, and the next question after acknowledging that is, well, what am I doing with my life, right? Everyone can ask themselves that. Not like everyone should, like everyone's not doing the right thing. That's not what I mean. But I mean, like, your time here is brief. You decide what to do with it, right? So, before I was saying that even though it's the just and ethical thing to do to resist unethical government actions, especially if they're systemic, I mean, you know, but that's a losing battle, right? You can't fight the state. However you want to talk about it, you know, maybe we could have 100 years ago, and not that I'm saying that, you know, we need to rise up or anything felonious or treasonous, not doing that, but you know, like if there was a window, right, it would have been before the government's ability to infiltrate the movements so easily and co-opt them and ruin them and turn them into their Hegelian dialectic of controlled conflict to create the result that they wanted from the beginning. So it's a losing battle, like what's going on in Portland, regardless of whichever side you think is right, if that's a way to talk about it. It's, you know, like the government can win if they want. They have so much more overwhelming force and power. So how do you make the world better, right? How do you improve the world? How do you save the world? If, for lack of a better term, fighting the power in that way is doomed to ultimately fail and be used against you, right? It's to create little, more or less isolated pockets of ethical resistance, but passive resistance, not like armed militias in the woods. That's not what I mean. I mean, like,
Do we turn tables or turn the other cheek?
well, we have to turn the other cheek, but you turn the tables at the same time in the sense that while whatever is going on here in public, in Portland, in New York City, in the White House, in the media, there should be places that are designed to withstand and weather these changes. Like a hemp farm that's also an intentional community that is as self-sustaining as possible, for instance. All that takes is money. In theory, right? We're just talking. All it takes is money. You need money to buy the land, and then money to get the structures and the farming utensils or whatever, you know, equipment, whatever it would need. That's just a question of money and potentially loans, but that's a different conversation. And we know that hemp can save the world, right? Like that's
I have a sticker like that.
it's almost cliche. It's
It's a sticker. It's a bumper sticker.
yeah. Like we've
It's so true. It's like
yeah. I mean, I was gonna take for granted that everyone here and everyone listening knows that hemp can save the world and all the things. So we're just gonna move on from there.
we know and we love it, and it's happening. At least hemp is happening now.
That's
finally.
true. Well, that's why this could, what I'm about to describe further, could potentially work, in theory. Because it's not like you can take over the culture with these ideas. It's not like just because hemp can save the world that capitalist, money-driven culture is going to invest in it in a way that's going to benefit you and me. They're going to invest in it, no doubt. We're going to have the biggest fields are going to be owned by Exxon or something like that, you know. But they're going to sell it to us in the same way they sell petroleum to us, in a semi-controlled market where they can profit as much as possible. Like, so that in the end,
That's fine. Just do
it's
it
better
already.
than
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's my opinion that they're not going to do it already because there's still money to be made milking the petroleum economy. So they're going to wait and let people like Lefty and myself and other people who I'm not, whatever, activists around the country and the world who are going to do all the groundwork for them. That's always the way that it works. They let us do all the groundwork, take all of the hits, take all of the punishments, and then when it's finally done, after how many bodies have been thrown at the wall of laws, when it's finally fixed in the way that we want it, then the big companies will come in and do what they want. It's the same in every state for medical laws and so on. So if we were able to get a place and grow hemp and be off the grid, but not off the grid because you have to be on the grid. And so we know hemp can save the world, but the world's not going to change on our timeline. So again, if it's just a question of money, assuming we had, let's say there was someone out there listening right now who thought, you know, at the end of this says, you know what, that's exactly right. I'm going to use my trust fund to pay for this. Let's say there was like $3 or $4 million, just for the sake of argument, to make it really easy. Get a hemp farm, power it with solar, collect rain, and do all the other hippie things that make a lot of sense to not be reliant on the larger system, which doesn't give a fuck about us and sees us as dollar bills or batteries or whatever other analogy you want to use. That's just the way of the system. Like, so it's nice to have an idea of like a commune somewhere, like a hemp commune, right? People could live there. You could have. So here's where the law, I think, works in our favor, because of, and there may be people doing this in other states. Like, I may be Facebook friends with them, but I'm not sure. I mean, every state has different laws, so I'm not trying to minimize or denounce anything they're doing. There's a lot of precedent for religious land use in the country, specifically in New York. I'm from New York, and I'm very familiar with a lot of stuff that's been done, specifically in my hometown, where the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, RLUPA, has been used to basically force local governments to allow people to have places of worship in their residential zoned area, because that law, RLUPA, says you can't use zoning to discriminate against religious practice. So every time, so the law, the case law, is on the side of using, basically breaking normal zoning law rules.
House tax, state tax on their house. If you have a church in your home,
Yes, that's
the
true.
Jewish people do that. They have a temple in their basement, and they do not have to pay taxes on their home.
I mean, I'm not a tax attorney, but I think that's probably true. I know you can get
That is
tax
100%.
exemptions.
I know that is
That-
from
that-
Bergen County at least.
That's what I'm talking about. I live in Ramapo, so I'm very, very. I have my ear to the, my finger on the pulse of this stuff. But
in my basement, if I build an altar in my basement,
it's more
they don't have to pay.
it's more complicated than that. But well, so yes, there are tax exemptions, but we'll get to that. So basically, you could have, all right, yes. So you could have a tax exempt hemp farm. In theory, you don't need an actual farm property, but it, make it easier. Get a farm property. You can get a hemp license. It's a non-competitive licensure in New York State, for instance. Probably the same in New Jersey because it's a federal pilot program. Each state does something. So in New York State, now I think that there's an argument that can be made against having to pay any fee for religious purposes and against the zoning requirement. But we'll skip that for a second. If you had a tax-exempt property, you could be a hemp company, but a nonprofit religious organization. There's very clever and legal ways to organize corporate entities and have them cooperate with each other for your benefit in terms of like taxes. I mean, all that stuff is legal. And I think that there are people who would say, well, you're exploiting loopholes. You shouldn't get tax exemption for, fuck religion, tax religion, things like that. And I think that they're missing the point. The net effect of tax exemptions for religious use of property and the other exemptions that religious use gets in other places are, in theory, for the benefit of the community. In theory, a religious organization, a nonprofit religious organization, is not supposed to steal money, rape kids, cheat people, or do any of the un-Christian or un-Jewish or un-Islamic things. They're not supposed to do any of those things. They're supposed to be community centers where people learn, and that's supposed to be beneficial to them personally and spiritually fulfilling, and then that makes the community better. And that makes the community better, it enriches the community. And New York State law actually has a ruling, I don't remember the name of it, but they more or less codified that idea that a place of worship is inherently beneficial to the community. Now, not every place of worship is, but in theory, that's why it's entitled to a tax exemption. So think about a priest. A priest, instead of devoting his life in a capitalist society to personal gain with his 9 to 5 time, his 40 hours a week, instead, he devotes that 40 hours a week or more to what a church needs to function. He's not seeking profit with his time, but he still has a financial burden for his existence and everything he's doing. So if you are actually genuinely spending your time that you could otherwise be doing to enrich yourself, and you're trying to take care of your community, and that vehicle happens to be religion, and you're not fucking it up by touching kids or any of those bad other things, then a tax exemption is designed to not reward you, but help you. It's like, wait a minute, so you made the choice to not do the capitalist thing and get rich? Like, the people who are saying this are rich because they did that thing. And they're like, wait a minute, so you're not doing the thing to get rich. You're going to try to feed the homeless people in your town because you think God wants you to do that? Okay. Now your taxes are a little bit less so that you can do that. And I think that makes sense if the person doing it is honest and their efforts are sincere and genuine and things like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's unfortunate when a religious organization uses that idea in law and then only enriches their own small community. That's almost parasitic, on the larger community, because everyone pays taxes. Not that I'm accusing anyone of anything insidious, but I mean, the point is to give back to everyone, not exclude people. So I've watched this type of argument go on in my area. So it seems really clear that we could do this with a hemp farm. And instead of using these laws to personally enrich just the people that we think, who believe the things we believe, you just provide for the community. Hemp provides all kinds of things. I mean, at the very least, it provides revenue for the farm in many different ways, which could easily, you don't have to cook the neighborhood a dinner of hemp. That'd be great. But you don't have to do that. You could just, from the money that the nonprofit organization makes by having these exemptions to lighten its burden, you could just pay for a catered meal for some people, like for your neighborhood. Or there's countless ways you could enrich your local community by being helped by the reduction of your burden, your financial burden, as a nonprofit organization. And I think that there's lots of people who use things for selfish reasons, and that doesn't mean that they're not good things. So you could do this with a religious organization, with hemp, on a farm property, and create one of these little pockets of resistance that would be as self-sustaining as possible. I mean, the best advertisement is examples. Imagine if you did well what your local neighborhood, think of somewhere out in Jersey where it's farm, or think of somewhere upstate New York. Your whole local community would know what you're doing. You're not breaking the law. And imagine if you actually gave shit to them. Imagine if you actually helped them, because you could, and that's the whole point. Imagine if you held community dinners. Everyone would know. And I don't mean like you're doing it to gain clout, like I'm going to do good things. I mean, these things are actually just possible, and we could do them. And if other people replicated that model, you would have a social movement based on example. word of mouth even. Did you hear about Did you hear about the farm upstate that just gives stuff away? And they help people and they give away medicine. Yeah, I'm gonna go there and hear them talk and get a free dinner.
Nice.
You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, these things could be real.
That's great.
And that would be the most passive, non-violent resistance and revolution I could think of, because how do you educate people? You can't tell someone who disagrees with you about a political issue like Black Lives Matter. You can't just argue them into agreeing with you. It doesn't work that way. But examples, that person's learning for themselves. So no matter what, imagine if someone, never mind about your political beliefs. Imagine if someone meets you and they find out that, what do? Oh, I give medicine away to dying people to help them live. Shit, how do you do that? Well, I have this exempt hemp farm. Wow, man. Like, I mean, that's as simple as it is. Like, wait a minute, you mean that's possible? I can just have an exempt hemp farm and save my mom died of cancer. Like, how many people have died of, God bless, or rest in peace, Molly Sheen. Like, how many people are dying of cancer? That imagine if there was a flood of FECO RSO around. Imagine if there was literally flood proportions.
You can have it as much as you want, whenever you want it, when you need it.
Because these nonprofit exempt organizations are growing hemp in upstate New York, and they have the leeway, and I mean, you can basically give away. I learned this from Ann Armstrong and Alan Gordon up in Rhode Island. You can give away cannabis medicine and take tax deductions. There's a novel way of doing it, so that the government subsidizes the medicine, basically. Like, there are ways to give away enormous amounts of medicine and still let the people who are in it for the money make some, profit. They can offset a lot of their taxes and stuff with it. I don't know. That's how you save the world. That's how you fix.
So when we get our hemp farm and where?
I don't know. We have to fundraise. That's the problem. Like, I mean, I'm raising money, but I don't have I'm not a fundraising organization. Like
Sativa Cross could be.
I don't know. Like,
We're starting one.
it's
Waiting for our approval for 501c3.
you need the money to get a. I mean, there needs to be basically what would be the equivalent of a business plan, right? How everything would be paid for. All the things that I was talking about in general would have to be gone over and budgeted and itemized and figured out how much it would actually cost to operate something like this for a year or for 5 years. Now, I mean, the laws are on your side. Like, God forbid you make no money, you can't even just pay your mortgage. Like, how long it would take to get evicted? Whatever.
Yeah, right.
You know how long it would take? You do your best. So obtaining the property, is paramount. That's a mortgage. I'm sure there are low interest loans that are available.
So what do we need? Just a field?
I mean, I don't know. Farm property would be better. Something with it that doesn't have to be somewhere where the land doesn't have to be created into such a thing that will yield better crops. Like, you can't just take any land and plant anything. I mean, hemp is great, God bless, but I think that, like, we know people, right? People who do hemp farming, like, it's not just 1, 2, 3. Like, that's a process to get to the hemp you're trying to produce. So, I mean, there's got to be people smarter than me that can take this idea like way further, and help with funding and things like that. Like,
And just let me work there. Let me work in the farming. That's all. I just want to work. I don't want nothing business-wise. Just give me a plow or whatever I have to do.
and that's kind of the point, is that if you understand this idea and like how it would, it's like who wouldn't want to abandon the rat race, abandon it, stop consenting, stop playing that game, stop contributing, and live in a communal thing. You can still leave to go to the gas station or the mall, of course, but like, you trade your labor basically for what you can contribute. As long as you're a decent, vetted person, why wouldn't that organization be happy to have you? In fact, that's what those organizations are ideally made up of. People who are, it should attract people who are actually ethically aligned with it, who don't have any ulterior motives and just see this as the ethical thing to participate in, because it checks all their boxes, or however you want to describe it. It takes money, and money takes money. Like,
Yeah.
it would take a bunch of money. That's all we need, some money.
Just money?
That's
That's
it.
it?
I mean, I'm not gonna have a telethon over it, but I don't really know what to do. Like, I don't have any way of generating,
Well, if Jesus existed today, like he did years ago,
yes.
he'd be broke. So how would he be able to get his word out to people, and just by the same way he did it back then, I guess, right? Just by
it
healing people and
He did
word of mouth.
miracles.
Yeah, it could be that my idea is flawed because I'm incorporating the capitalist idea of land ownership into it. But I mean, not for nothing, that does give us a lot of legal protection and the ability to generate medicine. Otherwise, we just have to do the same stuff we're already doing, which is, you know,
Hey, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to put up on the screen. Look at that. Somebody just sent me that. That's pretty interesting, right?
yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen it before.
I guess it's that is an accurate description of the narrative.
In that box there, it tells you that if you, and this is a federal law, you are tax exempt if you put a. So
Yes.
open up a hemp farm and just put a.
Well, see, so my thing in New York is that I don't own my property; I rent. And secondly, okay, so I was talking to Lefty about this yesterday, which is that I applied for a hemp growing license in New York State by email, and I said that I wanted to grow for religious purposes. And there are 3 requirements that you have to fulfill, excuse me, 3 requirements that you have to fulfill in order to qualify for and get a hemp license. 1 is you need a farm zone property. 2 is you need a business plan. And 3, you need to pay the fee. It's like $35. It's nothing. But according to the law, according to that law that I mentioned earlier, our LUPRA, they can't require you to, like, where's their compelling interest to prevent you from growing hemp on a residential property versus a farm property? An acre's an acre. What's the difference? You still have to put a fence around it, take all the precautions. And I even suggested that I would let the authorities, whoever it is, come do their random sample of the crops to make sure that I'm not, that I'm growing, THC. I'm growing low THC hemp and not high THC marijuanas.
People don't know the difference of that.
But that's a whole other thing. But
Whole different
well,
conversation.
the state knows. The state knows.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, of course you could regulate me, but I want to use a residential property. Here's the address, and here's a picture of the backyard. It's huge. And I said, I didn't say our LUPRA says you can't require me to do that, but I just said that here's the property I'd rather use. Not for nothing. We were just talking about that. I can't afford a farm property just because I want to practice my religion. I got to buy a farm property. Just so I can create the holy anointing oil based on cannabis. It's legal to grow hemp. So growing hemp, and healing people, anyway. So I also said I couldn't pay the fee because I asked them to please waive the fee because, I shouldn't have to pay a fee to practice my religion. And I also said that I don't have a business plan because it's not a business. It's a religion. I just want to grow this to make the holy anointing oil so that I can practice my religion. And they rejected me, by email, and basically said, well, you didn't pay. We rejected you because you didn't pay a fee, and you don't have a farm. So in theory, I can sue New York State, but I don't have faith in the court system. They would probably just rule against me, and I have to appeal, which costs lots of money, which again, I don't have the money for a farm property, let alone to exhaust on appeal. It's fucked up that way that there's no way to subsidize appeals the way that they do. Like, so you can get a public defender for a criminal charge, but if you want to appeal, you don't get a public defender like that, right? Am I wrong about that? When you want to appeal, well, I guess if if it's a criminal charge, no, that's not. No, actually, I'm being stupid. I think if it's a criminal charge, you still retain some kind of criminal defense lawyer provided by the state. But if it's civil,
Not civil.
if it's civil, you have to pay a lot of money, not only because the lawyers charge a lot of money, but So that's kind of the problem. That's where we're at. So I think it would be more productive to just buy a farm property, and then if they fuck with you when you have a farm property, then you sue them and do it anyway, because you're on a farm property. Where is their argument? Again, I think that it's pretty well litigated case law for not having to pay a fee. It's a court case called Murdoch v. Pennsylvania, which says that you don't have to pay a fee to practice your religion, basically. So if a secular license exists and failure to obtain that license burdens your religion, then you don't need that license, because that would amount to a tax on your religion. You have to pay a fee to get a piece of paper which says that you can consume cannabis or grow cannabis. And actually that argument applies to the medical cannabis program, the high THC stuff as well. It definitely applies in theory. The only difference is that the state can articulate a slightly stronger argument in terms of their compelling interest to protect make sure that people who aren't patients don't get the dreaded marijuana.
The children.
Yeah, right. So it's. What do you need? Yes, of course. So even though we all know that argument's bullshit, there is a logical sense to that, and it's been used before. So I wouldn't try to get around the medical marijuana licensure with that argument, even though I know I'm right. I wouldn't try, because you're coming up against the status quo much harder with your argument. You're asking for a lot more exemption in comparison to saying I want to grow this harmless CBD-rich plant. There's no way they can articulate a compelling interest to protect anybody. Risk of diversion of what? Of hemp?
Mm-hmm.
Hemp, you can buy it. I can go to any store, any head shop and buy hemp cigarettes. They're garbage, but they're made of hemp. They're made of hemp. You can buy smokable flower. Remember the guy in New York who with 1,000 pounds of hemp or whatever, and they arrested him, and now he sued them because it was hemp.
But they ruined it. It got ruined.
Yeah, of course. That's why he sued them.
Yeah.
That's why he had to sue them for all the value that they ruined, and future revenue and the whole thing. Yeah. He's totally right. They fucked up. But that's kind of the point, is that the state has admitted multiple occasions, and demonstrated how harmless hemp is. So they can't. So saying that you want to grow hemp for religious purposes doesn't trigger the state's argument about public safety in the way that if you're saying you want an exemption for high THC marijuana, because that narrative that marijuana is dangerous still exists and is ingrained and institutionalized in the laws, regardless of how things change on the surface. So, and then of course, what I learned with the 885 exemption.
That's interesting.
Have you guys heard about this? The 885 exemption? So, I'm sure Robert Moore's not watching, but
no, but I like him, and I think Jeff used it. Our
he
buddy
did.
Jeff
He definitely did.
Yeah, and it worked.
It did work. Well, I mean, it was so. What it did was that basically, if you're a hemp company, you have this letter, this basically federal approval at some point in your paperwork, but you don't have to show that. If one of your workers who's covered by your umbrella of exemption under it's called an 885 exemption, because it's Section 885 of the Controlled Substances Act,
Right.
885 and 822, which describes the activities that are exempt. So when someone like my friend Jeff, who was employed at the time by this hemp company, when he was ticketed for possessing, hot hemp, experimental hemp, crop products, he told the court, showed him paperwork and said, look, no, I work for this hemp company, and if you take this to trial and you don't believe me, well, then we'll legalize hemp, cannabis in your state, because you will have acquitted me, we'll just show you the evidence, but we don't have to show you now. So it was at the low-level state level, it was almost like a bluff, a gambit. If they don't dismiss it, you show up at court and show the proof that you're legal, and then now they've, on public record, institutionalized that what you're doing is okay when
Right.
they dismiss it, and now everyone can just join that company, and that's it. How are you going to enforce cannabis laws in that state? So that's what was at stake. Anytime one of their employees, contractors, I'm not sure what the proper term for it was, anytime one of them encountered law enforcement over cannabis, that was what was at stake. It worked sometimes. I know of cases where it didn't work.
Oh, really? Didn't work?
Yeah, I don't want to shout people out or say that.
How did it not work?
I think so. I think that you have to follow a certain protocol as a when you contract with this particular company. You have to follow a certain protocol, and if you haven't followed that protocol, then you're kind of like breaching the agreement, and then they don't have to bat for you in court. But
Okay.
I know people that did, and the owner of the company showed up and batted for them in court, showed up with paperwork and got the shit dismissed.
Right.
You know, so, and then like I said, my friend Jeff did it without the owner. He just knew the narrative. He understood
Okay.
and was able
Right.
to articulate himself to a court, and they're just like, well, I guess that's right, and dismissed his charges. You know, he said, I'm a hemp contractor essentially, and then they looked at his paperwork and said, I guess you are. We also tried that. We tried that in Connecticut, but it didn't work.
It didn't work.
But they kept playing these games with us because they didn't like us, because Jeff is very outspoken. So the judge did not like us.
Oh,
at
when
all.
he was filming it, and he was in the courtroom filming it from a kind of a different. He was
I don't remember. Although me and Jeff did get kicked out of the hearing for Ann and Alan when they got busted the first time. I got busted for filming it. I was putting the phone up over the little back of the seat.
No, it was Jeff. Jeff actually filmed the whole proceeding. I think it was Connecticut.
He did?
Yeah.
I remember I took a picture of the state trooper looking at the packet, the information packet, and I made a meme out of it, and it said, that moment when you realize what 885 exemption means, and it was the state trooper just looking at this packet like, it was funny. But so what I learned with 885, I'm no longer a member of that organization.
Oh, you have to keep up on it, I guess.
Yeah, it's a yearly thing that you have to do with them.
Oh, okay.
I'm not qualified to speak for what their contract was, or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's a yearly thing. So what I learned from them is that now this guy, the owner of this company, he grew weed in his backyard in fucking Patterson. I saw it. I fucking saw it. It was amazing, and it was totally legal, and that was the point. And what it was experimental hemp crops.
Yes.
This was years ago. It was before the hemp pilot programs.
Yeah.
Because
he was
before
ahead
that-
of his time. He was
Oh,
way
yeah.
ahead of his time.
Well, before that, there's hemp companies that have been operating legally for a long time. It's just they can't grow it. But because of his company could. So there's a whole long
Because
story
of the
behind that.
885 exemption.
There's a whole backstory with that. So his company could, and they knew about it, and they left him alone. And I mean, some of it turned out to be what looked like, high grade shit to me, and some of it looked like dirtweed hemp.
Right.
And that was kind of the point, is that it was all legal because he's looking for the genetics. So the way that and it's funny because it applied back then, the way it applies now, is that the hemp laws. So let's say you're a licensed hemp producer right now in New York or New Jersey, and the DEA comes and tests you, and you test hot, right? You're higher than 0.3%. They don't then come and like take your whole crop. They don't come seize it. They tell you have to destroy it, right? They tell you that you can't put it in commerce. Or have they changed? Do they actually destroy your crops for you?
Yes, sir. I'll destroy it right away.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So what the 885 exemption at the time that I was involved with was that their experimental hemp crop, it wasn't illegal to destroy it and dispose of it within the company. Research.
Within the company.
Within the company, because you're already contracted by them. So your job in that company could be to destroy something or to be a courier of something. And that was where the exemption was. So that exemption showed that under normal legal operation of a hemp company, you could be in possession of something that the government would call marijuana, and you're not breaking the law because it occurs in the context of your legal hemp production, which you could, in theory, obtain and do with religious exemption and tax exemption, et cetera, like I've been describing. So that, in a nutshell, it's not a nutshell, it's a long fucking rant. But that theory, now, I'm not going to say I'm some expert, because I'm not. What am I a fucking expert in? But I do a lot of thinking, and I really try to hold myself to, logical standards of clear reasoning. And I think that given that hemp is the missing ingredient in every fucking political theory ever, because it's the one thing that you can just make an infinite amount of, it's renewable, and it makes everything else you need, you wouldn't have, wars over things and scarcity. So the only way to really institute that at first on the small scale is like something I've described. I don't know how else you can do it. And I think that the whole point that the government rewards you for acting religiously, taking a tax exemption, I don't know. I think that's our best chance to do something like that. Otherwise, it's just going to be more of the same, and the corporations are going to have control of the legalization. That's been my TED Talk.
Thanks, Ted. I want to thank CMMNJ and UFCW Local 152, Hugh Giordano, our friend Hugh. If you're in a dispensary and you have a dispensary job, and you'd like to get yourself legal, in a union with better wages and benefits and training. Whoops, that's not the picture. That's Cheryl Miller. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to Cheryl in a minute. But yeah, the UFCW. It's a great union. I love these guys. Hugh especially. He just went to the Verona town meeting, and he just shows up. He takes part. I love this guy. He's a union shop steward, goes all around the country. If you're looking for an awesome union job, you want to make your current cannabis job better. Do you want to work in an ATC, a grow room, or a lab? Do you want better pay, good benefits? Contact Hugh Giordano at 609-680-5718, 609-680-5718. And that's H. Giordano, H-G-I-O-R-D-A-N-O, at UFCWLocal152.org. He was the best. We're not done yet, but we have some things to talk about before we go. So thank you, Hugh. Thank you. Thank you, Hugh. And in my phone, his name is Hi. I never changed it. I made a mistake. I put Hi Giordano, H-I-G-H, instead of H, and I just left it. I'm like, I just love it. And every time we talk, we smoke together. I love it. He's the best. He was the best, man. But I want to thank the UFCW for supporting us and keeping the podcast going this year. We wouldn't be doing it without him. MagicalButter.com, DavidVersusAutism.org, Medical-Freedom.com, TheFallingSickness.com, NewJerseyWeedman.com, LetPatientsGrowNewJersey.com, New Jersey Grannies for Grass, JacksonStorms.com, Arlo Glass, OpenMachine.com, Pure Puff, West Berlin, DragonFlyHealthCenter.com, and Sativa Cross West. Oh, I'm going to try to give Honeybee a call. But we have a few things to go over first. We want to talk about Marley. Our list begins with Marley today. And I'm going to actually say something. I'm not going to say something. I'm going to do something else. Oh, God. Hold on. Sorry. So smoke them up if you got them, everybody. You got your bowl packed. Light up your rigs. This is for Marley. Marley Sheen, Sucio Gonzalez, Charles Brooks. Yeah, fire up that rig. There you go.
Couple months you gon' be rich. I see secrets to your madness when you're selfish, this you gon' get rich. Pass the secrets to your man, cause when you're selfish, they snitch. Now go and get money. Go and get money. Go and get money. Go and get money. I'm back up in this motherfucker, I've been gone for a minute. Took my reefer back to Cali, they put wax up in it. Now it's full-fledged dab life, got it by the slab light. You know what I'm working with, you can do the math right. Stinkins of the dinkins, all the wax is stable. Dudes got fat while niggas starve, now back away from the table. This state ain't big enough for two of us. I run New Jersey, I get you touched for next to nothing, bitch, your bird is a word. I'm out here doing it, and doing it, and doing it well. I got no time, I'm on my grind, bitch, I got product to sell. Up and down New Jersey Turnpike like UPS. Double sealing everything, that's how you keep shit fresh. Blowing the ooze of that kitten dog, fuck police. Give a fuck about them, they give a fuck about me. It's crooked letter U, see I don't owe you niggas. Fuck on Instagram like I don't know you niggas. Go and get money, let me show you how I do. Go and see Poppy, get a brick and bake like two. Go and get money, then you got for two more. Do the same thing to that, then you go and get four. Stack them chips, couple months you go and get rich. Pass the secrets to your man, cause when you're selfish they snitch. Now go and get money, let me show you how I do. Go and see Poppy, get a brick and bake like two. Go and get money, then you got for two more. Do the same thing to that, then you go and get four. Stack them chips, couple months you go and get rich. Pass the secrets to your man, cause when you're selfish they snitch. Now go and get money. Go and get money. Go and get money. Go and get money. Molly Ringwald, I got Molly Ringwald. She told me to tell you that she got a song to sing, y'all. Where the party at? I know what to bring, y'all. I got weed, y'all. My connectors told me I can do it like that. Cause once he chop it down, he gon' grow it right back. Girl Scout cookies from a bunk full of ice. Take your sour diesel back up there to Washington Heights. It's a new day, nigga, and I hope you see the light. Either you don't know the strain or they don't grow it right. You gotta give it proper nutrients, it's water and light. Talk to them in the daytime, give them kisses at night. I'm like a indica, crossbreed, Molly and she infused with mushroom, shatter, Molly and lean. The only thing I give a fuck about is me and my team. Run New Jersey's what I rep and fuck your life is what I scream like. Let me show you how I do. Go and see Poppy, get a brick and bake like two. Go and get money, then you got for two more. Do the same thing to that, then you go and get four. Stack them chips, couple months you go and get rich. Pass the secrets to your man, cause when you're selfish they snitch. Now go and get money, let me show you how I do. Go and see Poppy, get a brick and bake like two. Go and get money, then you got for two more. Do the same thing to that, then you go and get four. Stack them chips, couple months you go and get rich. Pass the secrets to your man, cause when you're selfish they snitch. Now go and get money. Go and get money. Go and get money. Go and get money.
Cheryl Miller. She could only fight with her head, but she fought. She fought while Jim pushed her around on a gurney. He pushed her around, and she went and got arrested down in Washington. She fought, and she knew she'd never see cannabis legal in her lifetime, but she still fought for it. Sabina Rose, a little 15-month-old baby, died from a 25-hour seizure. They made this little baby jump through hoops to get her cannabis card. A quarter of her life was spent going to a psychiatrist, I think, trying to get an appointment and working all that out. Because at the time, you had to send the 1-year-old baby to the psychiatrist. Makes sense, right? What does a 1-year-old baby say to a psychiatrist to get a cannabis card? Does anyone know? When you were 1, what did you say? Do you ever talk to anybody when you were 1? Never say anything?
I don't want to crack jokes.
Good. Because it's not funny.
Yeah.
They made this poor baby jump through hoops. She literally spent a quarter of her life waiting for a cannabis card, waiting for a psychiatrist, making this baby go to a psychiatrist. And what is a 1-year-old going to say to a psychiatrist, really? Come on. Really? But at the time, that was the law. They had
Bullshit.
They had to make babies like this go to a psychiatrist to get your cannabis card. Come on. Who was wrong, the law or Sabina Rose? Well, Sabina's dead, so she can't even speak for herself anymore. But who was wrong? Well, the law is wrong, obviously. The law is still wrong. There's something wrong when we have to talk about deceased babies on our podcast. There's something wrong here. I'm doing something wrong. It's a hurtful list, but hopefully it's hopeful to some people. But yeah, this list hurts me. Especially having Marley on this list. It's hurtful. I don't even know how to... I can't believe Marley's on this list. This is Diane. I'm sorry. Yeah. So she was at the State House fighting. This is Marie from Pennsylvania. She died from cancer. This is Joan Ford, William's mother. And William did call before, and I did answer the phone, but he didn't say anything. I don't know what happened with that phone call, William. Oh, I got a text here from a few people. Jeez. Let me see if William's available. Because he knew Marley. Give it a shot. Let's see if it works. Maybe. Oh, that was so loud. Spark him up, everybody. Got William Haney coming on. Huh? Huh? Well, this is Joan Ford. This is William's mom. And she had drop seizures where she would just fall down in the middle of the street. When you have a drop seizure, you don't have time to brace yourself, so you basically just fall. Your whole body just falls limp, and you just bang your head or knock out your teeth or black eye. And my friend Sarah had 10 staples in her head from the last time she fell. Drop seizures are no joke, man. This is Randy Robertson. He fought for cannabis patients' rights in Pennsylvania. Polly Connolly. This is Bill Buckman. This is Chad. He died from brain cancer, and when his father found out Chad had brain cancer, he killed himself. So left poor Iris to take care of Chad, who's in a wheelchair, all by herself, and we tried to help her as much as we could, but he got FECO. He had a bunch of FECO, which did help him and prolonged his life and gave him a quality of life that he didn't have before. But it was too little too late, because FECO is very hard to get, and it's not available freely, and Iris didn't have that available to her. I still hear from Iris occasionally. She'll check in. That was like 4 years ago? 3 or 4 years ago. She checks in once in a while, but she's still broken up. She can't even talk about it. It's her son. She watched him suffer and die. This is Joanne's husband, Jeremy. He got busted for growing a beautiful plants. Ruined his life, broke his family apart. It's Troy. This is Russ Perry. He died from liver cancer. This is Roger Barber. He took part to help get Jenny's medicine distributed to her in school. They distribute all kinds of other medicines, but not Jenny's medicine. And he fought for that. Jay Orletto. He sings that song, Who You Wanna Roll With? He called me before he died. He said, Lefty, I want to get in on the program. How do I get on the cannabis program? So I gave him all the information. I said, here you go. Here's everything you need. Good luck with that. He didn't have the money for it. Who does? It was cheaper and quicker for him to go down the corner and get a $10 bag than it was to get involved in this program, this cannabis program at that time. And he wound up dying because FICA was not available to him to get off opiates. This is my gangster grandma. She's pretty badass. Look at that. I used to go there and fill a vape bag from a vaporizer and take a big bag, and I'd give it to her. I'd say, I'm going to test your breathing today, Grandma. She'd go, okay. So I'd test her breathing, and I'd breathe in, okay. And before you know it, she felt wonderful. So every day she'd be like, are we going to test my breathing today, Edward? I'm like, yeah, sure, Graham, here you go. She'd be looking for it after a while. She knew. She knew I was getting her stoned. Of course, Graham. This is Jake the Tank. And he didn't want to be in a wheelchair or a gurney when he walked to the operating room. He walked down the hall. And he climbed on the table himself and he says, Doc, I want you to fix me. There's Jake. I want you to fix me, Doc. But they couldn't fix him. Jake the Tank. Be like Jake. This is my buddy Armando who had tailbone cancer. You ever heard of tailbone cancer? I've never heard of that in my life, and that's what he died from, tailbone cancer. I used to go there, and he was my mechanic, and I would go there and get stoned with him. I dabbed him out for the first time. He had a great story. He had a great way of smoking weed. He said he would smoke weed behind the cars, and he said he'd always put his dick in his hand. This is what he told me. He said if anybody walked over to him because he was smoking weed, he'd be like, no, I'm pissing, I'm peeing, get away from me. And he would show his penis to them.
Show it?
I guess, I don't know. He never really got that deep into it with me. I just was like, okay.
Smart.
I think it's brilliant.
It's ingenious.
Guess it wouldn't work for me, but that was great for him.
In high school, all the female students could leave at any point for female issues. So, it balances out.
Right.
Balances out.
Yeah, Armando.
My high school,
Armando would love that I'm telling that story.
not to interrupt.
That's a great story, though. I love that one. This is Lynn Platshorn. This is a Marine vet. Marine vet named Sean. Sean McKay. He killed himself. This is Joyce Fortini. And this is Lori McBride. This is Mikey V's aunt. This is Jim Miller's buddy, Brian. Thorne Peters. I used to love listening to Thorne Peters' show. No mens rea. I am the law. This is my brother-in-law, Frank. He died a year ago. And my sister-in-law, Lorraine, who died just recently. 2 siblings within a year. We put cannabis oil in her belly button. I hear that's a thing, the belly button. I hear there's a lot of endings in there and a lot of... I just hear it's good. So we did that for her, and we tried something. Too little, too late at that point. She was in the hospital, and we couldn't go to see her because of the COVID, so she was in there by herself, and there was nobody to advocate for her. Terry. Terry Harris. Y'all know who that is? I can't believe she's gone. Charlotte. Charlotte's Web. Her strain has helped a lot of people. This is Cher Ford McCullough. And this is Jaybird Brennan. Michael Brennan's brother. And let's try this one time and see if it works. Okay. All right. Okay. I think we have audio.
But the person you...
Oh my God, it was so loud.
Mailbox that has not been set up yet. Goodbye.
Hurtful. Hurtful. I'm getting no. That's not going to work. Well, the last person on our list is a boy who had drop seizures. A young man. His name is Michael Dillon. He died from a drop seizure. He fell and hit his head and never woke up. And he did have some access to cannabis, but not the access that he needed to really help himself. I'm going to figure out a picture of Marley, or I'll just play a video of Marley every week, maybe. I don't know. But, this show is dedicated to Marley. We're going to have a party dedicated to Marley. We're going to have a strain dedicated to Marley. We're going to do a lot of things dedicated to Marley. Because he was the best. So, letpatientsgrownewjersey.com, votecannabis2020.com. They shall grow. Hashtag they shall grow. That smells really good. Let's see who's on here. Anybody still on? Hey, guys. Okay, we're going to end the show here, so you know how this goes. John Small, how are you, buddy? Kevin, Julia, how you all doing? So this show is for Marley. Anybody got something to say before we end about Marley? I have a feeling this won't be the last time we talk about him, but today.
Not forever.
No.
What we're going to talk about Marley.
Well, like I said before, he's in a gated community with his mom now. And Bishop Jethro James told me that once, and I'm going to tell people that because I really thought that was good. Because that's where he's at. He believed in God, and he's with his mom now. So we should be happy for him. He's not suffering anymore. He left us some great parties, some great videos, and some great ideas, and some great friends, and some great food. I don't. That song got to me. It still hasn't sunken in that he's gone. Has it sunken in for anybody yet? Because it hasn't sunken in for me. I think maybe next week it might. Yeah. Like I said, I have a regret not going to that party. But I was a mess. I just couldn't go. I don't miss many parties at Marley's, man. I only missed one other party. I went to parties in Philly with him. I went to parties in up in Boston. Was it Boston? Yeah, with Bobby Nuggs. That's Boston, right? Yeah, and Red. That's Boston. I haven't put Marley on the list yet. I physically have to type it in, and I haven't done that yet. I guess I'll do it now. You don't need to like have dead air while I do this. You can talk, because or not. Maybe it's appropriate. I'm gonna type Marley's name into the list right now. This fucking sucks. Yeah, this is where it's gonna fucking suck right here. Marley Sheen, Charles Brooks. Charles Brooks. Perfect segue, thank you. Perfect segue. Louder. 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 Yes. And I do mean loud. Get it? Loud. Yes. I want one too. Fire me up one too. We're going to end the show on some dabs right now. I'm going to do a K-bar dab. We're ending the show like the right way. Thank you, Marley. Thank you for the memories, Marley. You're the fucking best, man. We're going to miss you. If you're at home, fire it up. That's how we're doing it today. We're firing them up. Hand me a rig. Give me any rig. This one?
No, this one. Green.
Is that hot?
Yes.
That's hot. Okay,
been hot.
heat up another one. Keep them going.
All right. Here, I'll take this one.
Keep them going. Give me some dabs. Give me the dabs. No, K-bar dab. No, give me the dabs. I'm doing a K-bar. We're doing a K-bar dab of some gooey. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. That's a big one. Marley Sheen, it's for you, buddy. This thing's broken. This rig's broken. Yo, this rig's broken. It's burned through. Here, look. It just went through. Here. Look at that. Look at that. I've never seen that before. Where's the rest of the rig? Wait, where's the rest of that now? Because it fell out. It's probably on the ground somewhere, smoldering. I'm not going down like that again. I lost my studio to a fire. We're not going to do that today.
You might have vaporized it.
So, you think, yeah? That's that. Wow, I've never seen that before.
Is it broken now?
The whole inside of that fell out, and it's. Do you see any glass over there?
Oh my God.
Do you see a piece of glass on the table?
No, I don't.
No?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Really, right there?
Is that it?
Okay, good. It's not smoldering on the ground.
No, well, it's not.
All right. Wow.
Oh, my rig. My favorite rig.
Are you sure that's the rig, though?
Wow.
Don't touch it. It's
How
hot.
the fuck did
It's not hot.
Yeah, it's got a hole in it now.
Yeah, it looks like the rig.
Wow.
How did you make this thing?
Wow. You did it over there. I didn't do it. That was done by you.
Michelle, we
Passing the buck, just, you know,
Shut up.
what are you, a trumper? Just, you sound like a trumper. Just saying. No offense to the trumpers. Well, yeah, no, fuck the trumpers.
Yeah, we did melt that nectar collector.
I can understand Trump 2016, but Trump
No, you
2020?
fucking-
All right, you know already. You already know. Like, you're going to keep going with this? Really? Ugh.
Most exciting season yet.
Yes. It will be, oh boy. They say heavy metal music does well during a Republican administration. So,
Is that true?
that's what I hear.
Nah, it's good.
All right. I just added Marley to the list, and it hurts. It's very hurtful. It's hurtful seeing him on here. I'm just, wow. This blows me away. All right, well, this is how we end the show. On a big dab and a broken rig. Broke a rig. That has never been done before during a podcast. I wonder if that's means something. What does that mean? Is there some meaning in that? I don't know.
If there's positive meaning that you can find in that, then do so.
Yeah, let's find some positive meaning in
Then do so.
getting a new rig.
There's new ones in the
I can't hear you anyway, so whatever. Whatever you just said. You all have to talk on the microphone so I can hear you. I can't hear anything.
take one of his, Michelle.
Okay. You can use mine. All right. Well, they're all the same. They're all friggin' silicone. All right. We're out of here. Hashtag they shall grow. Hashtag vote cannabis 2020. This is written about 100 years ago and was written by a soldier. I think it was written by a soldier. It was written about soldiers, that's for sure, during World War I. And it has meaning for medical cannabis patients here in New Jersey. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them. Nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun.